and welcome to the Central Lyon George Little Rock Football Podcast presented by the CLGLR Quarterback Club. We are recording live in downtown Rock Rapids from the Rock River Brewery. Now, here are your hosts, former CLGLR head coach Toby Lorenzen, current CLGLR line coach Dwayne Postma, and current CLGLR head coach Curtis Eben.
On the near sideline, Teichman with blockers, brought down, fumble on the play, Lions cover it up, that'll do it. The Lions are the 2022 state champions in the state of Iowa.
Welcome back to another CLGLR podcast. This is our 14th podcast. This is our fourth episode of the season 3 podcast. I'm your host, Curtis Eben, along with Coach Dwayne Postma and Coach Toby Lorenzen. Our special guests this week are guests from the 2004 podcast, Jordan Dowman, Judy Grote, Kurt Conaway, and Jason Stubbe. Before we get into those guys and that season, we're going to start with a little trivia question. What milestone was reached for the CLGLR during the 2004 season? What milestone was reached during that season?
I had my hand up first, so if nobody else gets it, I got it.
Anybody else want to guess?
Newspaper articles.
You gonna okay. Anybody else want to guess for Dewey? All right, Dewey, go ahead.
Central Lyon George Little Rock football won its 300th game that year. 300 victories for Central Lyon and Central Lyon George Little Rock combined.
That would be the correct answer. So
did not know that.
So how the hell did you know that?
I'm a walking encyclopedia of Central Lyon George Little Rock football, buddy. You ask an honest question, he gets an honest answer.
Get the honest answer.
Who texted you the answer?
Nobody.
You looked at your phone. I was just wondering.
I'm looking for other reasons, if you have to know.
Oh,
so yeah, but that's the answer. Pretty impressive.
Since 1959. Yeah, that's when Central Lyon first consolidated, so it started in 59.
Wow, that's impressive.
Oh, what was the overall record?
That was impressive.
It says in here.
So obviously he's the one that absolutely.
I think at the time of that 300th victory, the record was 300 wins, 114 losses, and a couple of ties. Pretty sure that's what it was.
73% win percentage, I thought. I looked it up.
That sounds about right, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's pretty impressive.
That works.
We're going to talk a little bit about Mount Rushmores this week. The position we're going to talk about is power backs. This group's a little tricky in the fact that most of our power backs are fullbacks in the making or maybe another position. Usually underclassmen, one-year guys, but definitely a big part of our team throughout the years. So, it's kind of an interesting position, but I'll let Coach Lorenzen start, and I'll finish this week, right, Dewey?
We'll see.
Well, first of all, Dewey and I were talking before we got on. I think there wasn't very much power back until we kind of got going with when I became head coach, and we kind of switched out of the wishbone, because the first couple of years, if you remember, we were wishbone with Terry Brunsman and those guys and RJ. But I think that the power back position is something we just wanted to have a little bit more flexibility. And we were working into that high-tech throwing offense. So we wanted to get our power back going on that. So we had some guys that definitely could fit the bill. I'd say if I have to put three of them or four of them on, I got my top three. I'll have to figure that fourth one out here as I go. Obviously, my man. Anytime a man's on the list, Curtis goes on there. He was probably one of my first power backs we ever had. Matt ran a lot of those. Remember that? I remember those straight ahead 31s and 33s. We just
37s.
33, 37. We dove right up the middle, and that was kind of your thing. I remember you hated it that first couple of years where I think it may be your sophomore year where maybe I'd bring you over to the sidelines. You were playing defense. You'd run over, get the play, run it back.
Yeah.
We'd hand off to somebody else. You'd run over, get the play, run back. You got kind of tired of that too. But
I wanted to be out for cross country. I would have went out for it.
But we got quite a few good carries out of you on that. So you definitely one of the guys that probably stayed as just a total kind of a premonition before the real H-back really became was Mike Klinkenberg. I'd probably put him on there just for the fact that Mike kind of played that. Mike was kind of our hybrid, and he'd play the power back. He'd slide back to tailback every once in a while. He'd slide up to tight end every once in a while. So obviously Mike was able to was able to do all three of those things, and he was definitely a power back. The next one, you throw a lot of different ones in there. As I sit and look at Kurt here, I consider Kurt more of a wideout when we played, just for the fact that way Stube threw the ball, which we'll get to tonight. But I guess the third one I'm putting up, and it might not be on you guys' list, and I thought he did a really good job, was Brandon Jerns. Kind of the same thing. Brandon Jerns bounced around to tailback, split out a little bit, played some power back. I thought he had some huge games as his career went on, and played some really good ball for us. That's maybe a surprise for you on that one.
That's good.
And then the last one, obviously, is Jordy Gakey. Jordy played 2 years there. What can you say about Jordy Gakey? All you got to do to know what kind of a power back he is, watch him come down and crack on linebackers and run the ball out of that power back position too. But we've had some incredible athletes played there, and like I said, a lot of those power back kind of split out and ended up being more split ends. But I guess those are my four that I'm gonna put on tonight.
No, it's good. I'll go next because I know Dewey wants to go last, but I'm gonna start it off with mine. Same thing, Coach. I'm going to start Jordan Gakey, a kid that obviously he played a ton of positions. That year he actually ended up getting hurt. His sophomore year he played power back and ended up getting hurt. And then another kid that came in and helped him a ton is Stephen Van Wy. Played a lot of power back through that time. But Jordan Gakey.
That was actually his junior year because sophomore year he played.
Correct. Correct. Junior year. Yep. There you go. Sorry. And then Mike Klinkenberg. Obviously, Mike speaks volumes for itself. Mike played some tailback. Some of these guys even played a little tailback throughout that year. And then I'm going to go with Tyler Starr. Is another kid that played power back in 2008. But again, split out a lot, but also played a lot of power back. And then he ended up running some tailback. So a kid. But I think I'm going to go with, like I said, Jordan, Mike, and then Steve and Tyler are my four.
Well, that was very, very noble of you not to choose yourself. I'm not sure what that's all about.
What does that mean?
Well, that means you're stupidly humble or something. I don't know. I have to lie. I'll start with that comment, and then I'll go to my next negative comment. I can't understand why we even do this one, because some of these guys didn't play their full career. And when we did the guards, we didn't go right guards and then left guards. We did all guards. That's, in my book, that's a crock. And I bring that up just about every time we have a podcast.
Yeah. Yep.
And one thing that always bothered me about the power back position, except for one of these guys, we didn't emphasize a lot of blocking out of the position. But we had some really good ones. Now we'll get to the positive side. Curtis would start. I don't like to put these in order of best to worst, but Curtis was one of those guys. Whatever the position was, he was gonna have a huge impact on a game. And I remember, Curtis, I don't know if you remember this, your sophomore year playing West Lyon. We popped you on that little 33 or 34, just a quick hitter.
Junior year
was it
over
your
there.
Junior year?
Junior year
about
over
a 75-yard touchdown and just broke their back. So it's been an important position for us. But I definitely, Curtis would be on it. Jordan Gakey, those couple years he played was really good. We had some good ones, and we've heard several of them. I got to go with Kalen Meyer. Kalen did bring the blocking to whatever he did on the offensive side. He's another one of them because of his blocking abilities and coachability and all that stuff. He could influence a game very heavily. So I got Jordan, Curtis, Kalen, and a guy who played it all 3 years is what I really like to see. And it's not always possible. I understand that, but Mike Klinkenberg, and he played it really well. Played it with power, played it with speed, did some blocks. pretty special guys, and then some of the others. Caden Van Berkem played it well. Tyler Starr for that year was outstanding. Steve Van Wy, anything he did was excellent. But I'll go with Jordan, Curtis, Klink, and Caleb.
Very good.
Pretty special group of guys.
Yep, like I said, that's a tougher position for Mount Rushmore because of what you just said, Dewey. I agree. But this year we're going to talk about 2004, the main focus of our podcast for this season. This team went 7-3. They had 13 returning letter winners, Class 2A District 1 champions. They ended up playoff qualifier. The coaches that year were head coach Toby Lorenzen, Greg Schmidt, Dwayne Postma, Terry Van Berkem, Keith Van Beek, Hank Grant, and Jerry Plutsky. Normally I go through the roster, but you know what? When you get an audio guy like Stubby around, you're going to pass it on right on to Jason to do the line to do the roster. I kind of like that otherwise. So one thing that I do want to bring up before we start, if throughout this podcast, if there's questions when you guys are listening live, Jeff is watching the live chat. Shoot the questions on there. Or text one of the guys sitting here if we forget something or we say information that's not correct or whatever it may be. Because it's about making the memories and remembering situations throughout the season. So if you have something, reach out to us, and we'll try to get things shot out to the correct source and where we're at with things. So as we go along here, Stu, you got that roster ready?
I am ready. So first man on the list, Matt Willinga. They got him listed at 159 pounds. I'm not sure he's ever gotten to that heavy. But number one, Matt Willinga.
There he is back there.
Number two, junior Brian Harms. Number three, another junior John Conaway. Number four, sophomore Reed Gertis. Number five, junior Corey Keel. Number six, we brought a freshman along that year. Didn't see a lot of that back in the day, Nate DeYoung. Number 8, Nate Van Briesen, another junior. Number 9, TJ Loger, sophomore. Number 10, junior Andrew Vick. Number 11, how do you pronounce? Mitch Lupkus, that's it, sophomore. I wore number 12, senior Jason Stubbe. Number 15, Andrew Sproke, another junior. It's number 17, Kyle West, sophomore. Number 20, sophomore Jacob Karsh. Number 21, sophomore Jaron Wiersma. 22, Mike Hoppy, a junior. Starting tailback, number 25, Danny Rockhill, a senior. 26, Kurt Conaway, senior. Number 28, another senior, Greg Hugendorn. 32, Seth Roos, number 32, sophomore. Number 33, Ben Tomjack, a junior. Number 38, Matt Bixenman, sophomore. A junior, number 40, Chad Lenz. Another junior, number 44, Andrew Stewart. Sophomore, 47, Kelly Hoy. Number 48, sophomore, Preston Perrette. Sophomore, number 50, Trevor Call. Sophomore, number 51, Tyler Den Beston. Number 52 is senior Drew DeGroat. Number 53, Joey Kruger was a junior. Another junior, number 55, Mike Post. Number 56 was a senior, Tim Molitor. Number 59, a junior, John Ironshell. Number 60, sophomore, Craig Bosma. Number 63, Nick Zimbelman, a sophomore. Number 64, a sophomore, Casey Peters. Number 65, senior, Joe Drenth. Number 67, my main man, JD, Jordan Dahman, was a senior. 68, Colin Campbell, a sophomore. Tyler Clausen, another sophomore. Number 70. Number 72, Andrew Zachow, a junior. Looks like number 74 was a sophomore, Austin Behrens. 75, senior, Dustin Corco. 78, Nick Gorder, another senior. 79, a sophomore, Scott Motter. Number 80, junior, Tim Cruz. 82 is a sophomore, Eric Brewster. 88, Ethan Voss was a sophomore. 89, Jason Hinch, a sophomore. Number 90, Wes Jepson, a sophomore. And number 94, junior, Michael Kamak.
There's your roster.
Good job, Stu.
Talk a little bit about managers that year. Managers ended up being Brooke Peterson, Kayla Ross, Kristen DeConing, and Courtney Linz were the football managers that year. Little known fact, Bill Hutchison was superintendent.
Who cares? How many of you were thinking the same thing?
Actually, somebody saw the roster this week and was like, I don't even remember Bill Hutchison even being here. So
hopefully none of Bill Hutchison's relatives are listening.
Well, he did it to make him feel better. He did a good job.
But talking about that roster, how many seniors were there?
11.
12.
12.
Dirty dozen.
10.
Dirty dozen. Oh, started out with a dirty dozen.
Started off
One
12.
time we were.
That's right.
So as you had 12 out as freshmen. You guys help me out with this, right?
Yeah, I think we started the year, our freshman year, with maybe 16. 4 kids quit. We ended with 12.
12, and then junior year.
I think we went down.
Our sophomore
year, we went down to 11.
So when you guys played JV your sophomore year, how'd that happen? Did you guys have anybody on the sideline?
We play a lot of juniors.
Yeah, so there's about 6 juniors that came down. Predominantly, we most of us played both ways.
Yep.
Though.
Yep.
Well,
if you
freshman year
remember,
too.
that was the year that was like Mike and Keel and Dan, those guys. They were starting 18 seniors. Those juniors weren't getting time, and we needed players.
So some of those juniors did come down.
Yeah.
We were talking about
played
that.
a lot of juniors.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys ended up, according to the roster, you guys ended up with 10 seniors on the roster your senior year.
I will add our freshman year we had 12. We still found ways to play the game, unlike some other teams where they don't have numbers their freshman year and they cancel the games.
Remember that?
We still played the games.
Yeah, we did.
That's good. That's still a good point. I mean, honestly, but then I think was it Coach Van Berkham gave you guys the nickname?
Yeah, Dirty Dozen.
Dirty Dozen.
Dirty Dozen.
Yeah.
Then we had to watch the movie.
Yeah.
He took us all to Pizza Ranch. We had to watch the movie, and every player had to pick out one of the characters that they wanted to be.
I never knew that.
That doesn't sound like Van Berkham at all.
I did not know that either. That's awesome.
Especially if you bought the pizza. That really doesn't sound like it.
That's how he got us.
No, I think we had to buy our own pizza.
Team meeting, you buy your own.
Team meeting, you had to buy your own pizza, and then you had to pick out a character off the TV show or movie.
We're gonna go through the starting lineup. This was an interesting starting lineup in the fact of how we put this all together. But starting left tackle, Jordan Dowman. No, Jordan, what did you play? Left guard.
You did not. You played left tackle. You always said you had my blind side.
Well,
you watch. Watch the screen. You were the left tackle.
You were the left tackle.
Tackle's the guy 2 away from the guard or center there. Center.
Yeah.
So again, this is why it's been.
There you are.
Left
67,
tackle.
left tackle.
Left tackle.
Guard.
That's a tight end. You know what that is?
Oh, wait. Yeah, he's 2 away.
Okay. All right, so left tackle was Jordan Dowman. Left guard was Joe Drenth. Center, the season started with Mike Post. He got injured. Then we went to Trevor Call for 1 game. And then we ended up moving Drew DeGroat to center after on game
Sergeant
5.
Bluff game.
Yeah, what game was that, 5, 4?
Yeah, it's 5 or yeah.
And then right guard is Dustin Kogo. Right tackle started Drew DeGroat the first 4 or 5 games. And then Nate Knobloch moved from tight end to right tackle. Tim Cruz played tight end, and Ben Tomjack. Split end was Brian Harms. Fullback was Preston Perrett. Power back was Kirk Conaway. Tailback, Danny Rockhill. And then quarterback was Jason Stubbe. But interesting that the change all happened throughout on that offensive line.
Yeah, and before those 5 games, I remember Nate Knobloch would spell me about every 3 series. Mm-hmm. He had number 6, and then we put a 73 over top.
Yeah.
And then he'd come in like a series or 2 to spell me, and then so that's how he kind of came into the right tackle after that when I moved to center. So he was already accustomed to playing right tackle a little bit. But
not a huge line, but pretty athletic line.
Yeah, as the season progressed and we got things situated, there was a lot of improvement. But it was pretty much in turmoil early on. It really was. Lack of experience, lack of size, had some injuries, whatever. But it settled in pretty good. It really helped when Drew went to center, and then Nate came in at tight end, or from tight end, and made a difference. It did, and yeah, we can talk more as the games go by.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a not a good situation early on.
Go a little bit to the defensive side of the ball. D ends were Judy Grote and Joey Kruger. D tackles were Nick Gorder, Matt Willinga, Preston Perrette. You can maybe throw Chad Linz in there because of how things situated. We went to like a 52 defense because linebackers, Chad Linz started at middle, ended up playing a lot of D tackle, but Preston Perrette played linebacker. Took Tyler DeBeston's spot when he tore his ACL. Mitch played linebacker the entire year and stayed there. Nate Van Briesen played one game at linebacker. Jaron Wernsma played one game at linebacker. So a lot of things going on at linebacker. Corners that year, Brian Harms played one or two games there, and then Kurt went to corner. Kurt, were you safety, Kurt?
Safety, yeah.
Kurt was safety, and then Nate Van Briesen and Corey Keel were ultimately ended up being the corners, and then Kurt Conway and Jaron were safeties.
And then D tackle, John Ironshell started a few games, and so did Scott Motter, actually, who came in, too. We had a lot of injuries at
So John Ironshell started the year. What happened to him, Drew?
So, well, we could get into it in the games, but John Ironshell started a few games, but he got the medical term is testicle stepped on and swelled up to about the size of a melon. And so then he was out the rest of the year.
He missed a lot of
No
games.
idea that happened.
Nobody blamed him for missing games, though.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I don't remember that.
I don't either. I didn't either.
I didn't.
Probably
until Drew
something,
told me.
probably something he didn't want everybody to really, know and
That's
talk
why I use
about.
the medical terms, right?
There you go. There you go.
No, that'd be painful, by the way.
Which John was about Matt Willinga's size. I don't think he was $150. We had some small D tackles that year until
Tough though.
Lenz and
right.
Motter came in.
Some tough son of a guns
Well,
down
they were
there,
really
though.
quick. They caused a lot of problems with their quickness.
Move into specialties. Jaron did extra points. Tim Cruz was a punter. Corey Keel was a holder. And Jaron Wernsma did kickoffs. Who else, fun fact here, maybe you guys saw the stats, who else did some extra points that year? He was, I think he was 3 for 8 or 3 for 5 beginning of the year, something like that. Anybody else guess?
I have no idea.
Ethan Voss.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yep.
I take exception to this a little bit. You're missing the long snapper, but it's okay.
Yeah, I think Voss kicked the first time, and then Jaron took him over for him. But I just looking at some stats, I was like, huh. Oh, long snapper, Judy Grote.
Drew, were you the guy?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of special teams.
Yeah, you're right.
I feel like
Pretty important.
With Graham being the long snapper, you should recognize that. You know?
That's probably why I don't
important.
recognize it.
No, that's okay. Except for there's a couple bad snaps on extra points, so we probably should have left it off.
So you're the short and long.
Yeah.
Okay. There we
Were you
go.
the punting long snapper too? Watching a couple of them tapes.
Hey.
Good thing Tim Cruz is back there.
Yeah, he's pretty. Well, I knew I had a big target back there, so I didn't worry about it too much because he could just go up and get it.
We'll move into to the season here a little bit. We're going to talk about again coming. The 2003 season was a tough season for us. Coming in at we were 5-4 that season, rolling into this season. Probably a lot of unanswered questions, and the fact of again a lot of guys, first time starting and really moving into that season, and it's just one of those things. Then the schedule probably wasn't the easiest schedule either. Started off with Denison, Sledgewig, tough game. I was at home.
No, it was on the road.
It was on the road. Yes,
It was on the road.
Yeah.
Played in that bowl.
Actually, that was where we were. We played at week 0. It was a week 0 game.
Yes.
We had to search high and far between. Nobody wanted to play us around here. We were contacting people outside of the state. We were contacting everybody. We could not find anybody. That was the only team we could actually find to play us that year.
Which I don't know why, because everybody. So I remember the Pigskin Preview and Northwest Iowa Review. I think we were picked to win 2 or 3 games coming in this year.
Yeah.
So I don't know why nobody wanted to play us, because from everybody's predictions, we weren't supposed to be very good.
It's been that way for a long time, though. I think when it's like that, teams don't want to play us because they know they risk a loss, an upset loss or whatever. And then when we've got the opposite situation, then of course they don't want to play for that reason.
It's funny.
I do believe it because they're afraid they might get beat.
We did spend some time trying to get a Sioux City school,
Yep.
and we were making headway. We almost had Sioux City West, and then they backed out at the last second, and we ended up playing them a few years later and just thoroughly. I think probably would have seen that fate twice if we would have played them.
In the preview, it said that West Lyon was obvious favorite to win the district that year. Knock, knock, didn't happen. And then Sioux Center was obviously Sergeant Bluff, another team that was in that district. Tough.
Sergeant Bluff had won it the year before, right?
Yeah. They were,
I believe so.
and they went in deep in the playoffs. Sergeant Bluff.
Yeah.
And West Lyon was coming up from 1A. I don't think West Lyon was in our district.
No, they were semifinalists in 1A the year before. Yeah.
I think Sergeant Bluff maybe made the semis, if not the round before, the year before.
Okay. So, like I said, come in, end up getting beat 21-0 to Denison, and again, always move into game two with Lamar's. Lamar's every year has had a solid team. You know, every year they always played us tough. We had some big rivalries throughout the years, and no different this year with that game. But a little tough, again, a tough game to go in, especially with the lack of experience. But end up losing that game 28-13.
Can we go back to the Denison
Yeah,
game real
absolutely.
quick? Conway had a kickoff return in that game.
Yeah.
So we went down 7-0. Conway had a kickoff return.
Oh, that's right.
And we thought we were right back in it. And this is not to disparage Chad Lenz whatsoever, but he got just absolutely blown up on the kickoff, and they called
the penalty on him.
They called a hold on him, but he just got rocked. Like, it's all happened to any of us, but he got just rocked and blown back, and they called a hold. But Conway would have had another return for a touchdown in that game. Just wanted to give a shout out to Conway.
It might have been a whole different game.
That was a big turning point at that time.
And Denison was a really good team. They ended up going to second or third round in the playoffs. Just looking up through the stats. And
if I remember right, during that game, we couldn't really get started, but they really weren't getting started either. It was kind of a battle of neither team really doing anything, and then all of a sudden, like we said, they got a couple things like that go their way, and then all of a sudden things started falling their way, and then it got a little tough for us after that.
Their offensive line and defensive lines were all over 300 pounds.
Yep.
And I remember just Dewey pregame before that, you guys got your work cut out for us for the offensive and defensive line because they were huge.
Yeah, they were big. Yeah.
Besides the fact they had Taco John's, McDonald's,
All
Hardee's,
of them. They had all of them. And a meat
All
packing plant.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they had them all. All the fast foods.
Dewey threw all those things in there. They were going to come for you.
Back in we still only had the Shade Tree in George and the Round Table in Little Rock and the Steakhouse in Dune and
What was the Bucksaw then?
Bucksaw.
Yeah.
Sorry to go back on that one, but I just want to give a shout out to Conway with
Bucksaw too.
that run back because it was a heck of a run back too, and it shouldn't have not been called back.
No. I mean, heck, even if he's grabbing the guy, trying to hold on as he's going down, it's going to happen.
But I just remember the sign I made for the bus ride to Denison.
I don't. Oh. I do.
Dandy.
So you guys on the bus ride on the way home from Denison?
Way there.
On the way there, did a van pass you guys or?
No, that was Sergeant Bluff.
Sergeant Bluff is when
Sergeant Bluff was where we got a little show.
That's why I was a little, but yeah.
That's what winners do.
So we'll talk about that down at the Sergeant Bluff game.
That's what winners get.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that Sergeant
That
Bluff
Lamar's
game.
game. You want to talk about that Lamar's
game? So going into Lamar's, though, let me say this, Doobie, that I just read that they have 11 starters back. They were semifinalists the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
go ahead.
At the end of that, I mean, we were getting beat, but the end of that game, I think it was either the last play or right at the end. Kurt goes 70-some yards for a touchdown, which, didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But I think that really kicked off our district season. The fact that we could come up with some,
yards,
move the ball, score, do something.
Yeah,
that's give us a little bit of hope, because
the second half in that game kind of started to be a catalyst for the rest of our season a little bit, that showed that we could do some things.
Yep.
It was actually after this game that I think it was after this game that my dad came up to me and told me, or I got home one night, and he said somebody came up to him in the crowd and said, somebody else came up to him in the crowd and said, those guys just aren't very good. They're not going to win very many games. And it pissed me off so bad.
I have a feeling that's why your dad said that.
I have a feeling too. Talked to him about it today. He goes, I don't remember that at all. I go, no, you definitely came up to me after this game, and because there was a couple people around him that said after this game that they're just not very good. They're not going to win any games, and that kind of was the linchpin going into the Sioux Center game coming up next. But
we were basically really trying to find our identity too, and and we had a quarterback that was different than the quarterbacks we've had in the past. A guy that could throw the ball extremely well, but also was deceiving. But no, I was just going to say, Stu, you were deceivingly a decent runner too. You didn't. I don't know if you wanted to or not, but when you needed to, you got it done.
That Sheldon game.
Yeah, when
I on the 3-yard line.
We'll wait to that one. We'll wait till the Sheldon game.
I saw that.
But between
because I have a distinct memory about that Sheldon game.
It's up on the screen right now.
But between between us starting to figure out the passing game a little bit, finding Kurt outside. Obviously, Kurt, I see, broke one late in that game, in the Lamar's game again too. So we were finding our big play guy. So everything was kind of starting. Besides the offensive line doing a lot of shuffling, we were starting to kind of gain. Maybe starting to get the first part of learning our new identity that year, and it kind of got going in that Lamar game.
We had
a
such a
bit in the second half.
hodgepodge group of guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we were starting 5 sophomores. We only had 10 seniors, a bunch of juniors. We had some shuffling to do.
Yeah.
Figure out who can play where we're gonna, chemistry.
And just getting ready to used to playing with each other. That was a big thing too at that point with you guys.
Which is, talking about hodgepodge is a testament to that 2006 squad.
Yeah,
how
we played
good
a
they
lot
were, because there was a lot of them that played.
A lot of them played.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, moving into the first game of district play against Sioux Center. Ended up big win, starting the district off a 28-6 win over Sioux Center. And like you said, Coach Lorenz, I think just reading the articles and going back, it really looked like from that viewpoint of the offense got started rolling early in that game and just kind of kept that momentum working through that game.
Yeah, I think it was the second or the third play of the game. We ran the power pass, and Kurt turns the corner and goes into the end zone, and he comes back and he goes, "That pass was so sexy." All right.
Attaboy.
And that's why you're going to have 6 kids. I see what you're saying.
Attaboy.
Might have been.
So it was
Good pass.
It was a good It was a 3-yard pass to the flat that goes in the books as a 38 or whatever, 38-yard pass. But
it was before this game that we held a players-only meeting before the game. Do you remember that, Coach?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we had a players-only meeting before the game, and you can think of any movie, just cliche, stupid crap that you look back on.
If I remember right, you put a movie sound on.
Yeah, we
on
even put a.
Yep.
What the heck was it?
Any Given Sunday.
Any Given Sunday, we
Yep.
played that, and you just think of
It's kind of cool. That is
any
pretty good.
corny high school football movie. That's probably what it'd be chalked up to. But we had a players only meeting, and it was one of those deals that I think going into that game, from us senior standpoint, Sioux Center was always somebody that we wanted to beat really bad, because 7th through junior high,
They pounded us.
we got rocked.
They mercy ruled us every year.
Through junior high?
Through junior high, or junior high all the way up through JV, they slaughtered us.
It was nice to beat them.
Five forced turnovers in our second half there, and Stube obviously 10 for 116. And every time you read articles about this team, you never ever read like Kurt Conaway went in from the 2. Everything's 33 yards or 31 yards or 27 yards. So, we're all over the place. Between you and Danny Rocky, we were starting to try to figure that out as far as where we were going to go inside, outside with you two.
obviously, you know, Danny started to run. I mean,
Yep.
Going back watching film, Danny Rockhill ran the ball hard.
He's a hard runner.
You know, he wasn't a real big kid. What did Danny weigh this senior year?
About 160.
165.
Because he wrestled
155,
152.
160?
He wrestled 152.
Yeah.
160. Danny was the type of guy that if you needed 3 yards, he'd get you 4.
Yeah.
If you needed 5, he'll get you 6. He ran the ball extremely hard, and he always got the yards he needed to get.
Very distinct running style. Short, low to the ground, real low base.
Watching film, just how hard he hit the hole, and like I said, he was always moving forward. In this game, he carried the ball 28 times for 120 yards. So he really had a good night on the ground that night.
You look at your team stats there, that begins to start to tell the story. First downs, we had 21, they had 12. Total offense, 331, but rushing, we had,
216.
216 yards, 53 carries. So this was starting to come around as CLGLR style football. Danny started to give us some of that identity, and that transforms because the guys up front are starting to get the identity.
Yep.
And then you still had that big playability. And then when we threw the ball for 118 yards, we're going to win a lot of games with those kind of numbers. And Kurt's big playability. So we're starting to come around and starting to show some identity, as you say, Tobe. We had a bunch of tough blue-collar kids.
You had 3 interceptions, Kurt, in that game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good God.
Yeah, sure did. Sure did.
No big
One
deal.
was tipped. I just was right in the right spot at the right time.
One of them,
remember that
he jumped about 3 feet in the air for his celebration, came down cramped.
That happens.
Yeah.
He cramped a lot.
All the way Conaway.
That was
All the way Conaway, baby.
good.
It was a
times.
fun game. Anytime
was.
you beat Sioux Center like that.
And they had some
Things were
really
rolling.
good players.
Yeah.
A couple of them went on to play in college with. And what's funny is I always talk to some of those Sioux Center guys. They were big. They were really big, but they didn't get hit in the mouth. That's for sure. I don't know if it's changed since then, but they were big, but they didn't get hit in the mouth.
Imagine that.
Continue on with the Boynton Hall Rock Valley. Boynton Hall Rock Valley had a pretty good football team that year. Probably one of the games that really was very memorable, at least in my mind, that season. Partially because I went to it. During this time I was in college, so I didn't go to a lot of the games, but I went down to this one. But ended up getting a win, 27-20.
That was something.
What a fun game.
It was wild this year.
Who's going to describe the last part of that game?
All the way Conaway, baby.
All the way Conaway.
Go ahead. Tell us what you're thinking, how it felt.
First,
sweet.
let's
Pretty
review
sweet.
the setting here quick first, because this is was it Rock Valley?
At Rock Valley.
And we all know how obnoxious those folks are when they're winning, especially against us. So they think they've got the world here. I mean, they've won their Super Bowl. And there's not more than, 15, 20 seconds left, I don't think.
Wasn't much.
It was about 20 seconds.
Take it away, Conaway.
It was pretty awesome. Good to shut them up.
It was.
So they scored. They scored with
A minute.
40 seconds left.
They
according
scored.
to the
It was
article here.
20-19.
with
Because
40
we were up 19-7 at one point.
We got up early.
We got up early. They scored first, and then we scored 19 unanswered. We were up 19-7, and then they came back on us in the second half.
Big game of momentum that way. I remember that. Yeah.
They had a 5-yard touchdown run, resulted in a 20-19 lead with 40 seconds left.
40 seconds, okay.
Instead of just kicking the ball, squib kicking it, they decided to kick it deep to
It was fun.
Perfectly nice end over end deep as we all stood with our eyes open and watched Kurt go right.
Whereabouts did you catch it? You remember, Kurt, about what yard line?
deep.
I don't.
It was nuts.
Was it quite deep?
Yeah, it was deep.
It was a 90-yard
Good kick.
Okay.
90-yard kickoff return. So it was
That
on
was a pretty
10
good
yards.
kick. Yeah.
I do remember I was doing chores the next morning, and Coach Brandt was on a radio show, and he told his kicker to squib kick it.
Yeah, he did. He's
remember
told me
that.
that numerous times since then. We've
I
talked about
was
this
listening
game
on
a
the
lot.
tractor, and he told his kicker to squib kick it. I don't know if that's true or not, because that did not look like a squib kick to me.
No, it was a pretty sweet kick, actually. But I watched that play when Coach sent me the YouTube stuff. And my favorite part of that play is a few seconds after the play, Joe Drant on the sidelines. If you happen to go back and watch it, he just comes off and he takes his helmet and just throws it and just goes, oh. Like he's just had enough. He's ready to pass out, you know. That's the funniest thing.
And if I remember right, correct me if I'm wrong, Tobe, but I think this one was not just an all-the-way kind of way, but it was basically a one-way kind of way. I don't recall seeing a lot of key blocks on the play.
No, I don't think there was.
No.
I think it was pretty much everybody was looking around, and there goes Kurt by him.
It was a special effort.
Yeah, if you watch
watch
the film, it's all Conway. The way he makes his cuts, it's all Conway.
Not to take anything away from anybody, but give the credit where it's due.
One of those great CLGLR moments where after the game, the crowd stormed the field. Basically took over the Rock Valley field. I remember
their field,
your nephew Heath was in the stands, came out, running out, came directly at me and did a perfect form tackle, took me out. I went down to the ground, got back up. It was fun though. Everybody's grabbing Kurt, and
I just loved it because before the game we're quiet. We're doing our warm ups. You know, we don't say a word to anybody. And they're over on the other side just doing their cheerleading bullshit, you know, and all that crap. And it's
whooping
just,
it up.
You know, just to beat them that way, it was just really neat to me.
Yes.
I think.
I will say, like, Westline was a rivalry. It's always going to be a rivalry, but there was a respect factor. Gosh, we hated Rock Valley Boyne Hall.
But that's really changed
because they were cocky. They just always just talked shit all the time to us and it was one of those
slaughtered a lot when we were younger.
I mean, whether it was football, basketball, whatever. I remember Rock Valley Boyne Hall beat us 85. Central Lyon, I mean, we were different, but they beat us 85-15 or something like that once in junior high, and they were dunking on us and not pulling out starters. I just hated Rock Valley Boyne Hall. But one thing I remember about the kickoff is their student section didn't even realize that Conway was running it back halfway through, and they were still cheering when he was already passed. He was already passed, and he was still running, and they were still cheering because they thought they'd won. I do remember that.
Well, rumor has it like that our student section or our crowd like broke the bleachers or was going to crack the bleachers.
Probably.
It's fine.
I think that's
they got enough money to replace them.
Oh, yeah.
That Dan Vunk for Rock Valley Boyne Hall was a really good player.
Yes.
Killed us that game. Actually, just ran into his dad not too many weeks ago, and we brought up the squib kick. And
was he the kicker?
No, he wasn't the kicker, but he was. I think he ran for over 200 yards on us in that game, running back, and we brought it up to his dad, and his dad wasn't too happy about the non-squib kick either.
He remembered it.
Oh yeah, he remembered it.
He'll never forget it. I won't either. That's one of the top memories.
No way.
Yeah. Good stuff.
You know, as you said, that was, I think, again, momentum-wise, just kept that things going, which led us into Game 5 against Sergeant Bluff. And Sergeant Bluff had a really good team.
Rated eighth. We were going in to play them. Yep.
They were undefeated.
Rated eighth.
At their place, right?
At their place, and I think you said they're returning. They were 3A.
They were defending district champs.
Yeah,
and I want to say they won one or two. I can't remember how late they won the playoffs, but they won a couple playoff games, I think. True. Although we beat them the year before too.
Yeah, true.
You know, as it happens numerous times for us on our program, you know, coming off a big win like that Boyden Hall, what a fun next week of practice. Everybody came to practice. Everybody was locked. Everybody was focused on getting ready to play. Another huge challenge, and you know, it was one of those weeks where it was just fun to prepare. And I remember Dewey, it was just fun to prepare those. Everybody was starting to feel their oats. Everybody was starting to feel where they belonged, and we were looking to start building on that momentum from that Boyden Hall game.
Yeah.
Yeah, going into this game, sorry to cut you off, Coach, but talk about the heck of a schedule we had. Denison, I don't think they started off the year ranked, but they end up making a second round of 3A playoffs. Lamar's were started off the year ranked number 2 in 3A. They narrowly missed the playoffs. Sioux Center was receiving votes. I remember when we played them. Boyden Hall was receiving votes when we played them, and Sergeant Bluff was ranked 8th. So talk about a murderer's row for a schedule that we had right at the
And
start of the season.
We had played them Sergeant Bluff the year before in Sergeant Bluff as well, because I think this was a turnaround schedule deal.
Yep, it was.
A little bit of a screw job, but it happens. That's just how the luck of the draw. But and the year before they were ranked higher and undefeated.
I
then
think
as
they were
well.
ranked 3
in
2A the year before, not to get into that
the
year too much. But
they had that Studley kid told that ended up at UNI.
Yeah,
that
big
was so
defensive
fun.
lineman that ended up at UNI.
Yeah, 2 years. Yeah.
Yes.
So we had no fear. No fear at this point. We had no fear of basically anybody because of what's going on and what happened the year before. It was fun. We were believing.
You know, that game we were, you know, we came from, obviously had to come from behind. That's one of those games where Stube, and you can fill in all the blanks here. We pretty much all of a sudden we started just drilling them passing wise. You and Kurt were on, and we just kind of said, go, just call them, just call things, whatever you think's working at the line, just call it, and you were going.
Earlier in the year, you had given me permission to use the hot color once in a while. But to start out, they scored first. We got the punt block. The punt block that Preston returned to tie the game was huge, just to keep us in it, because we weren't doing a whole lot offensively. Right before half, it was the first time we ran that sprint out pass, and we threw it back to the opposite side.
Yep.
Kurt made a heck of a catch right before halftime, got that first touchdown, offensive touchdown anyway. And then I know in the third quarter, I was watching it, we were facing a 4th and 1 in about the 10-yard line or so, and we were down at that point again. And it's 4th and 1. We had a 24 called. We were running Rock Hill straight up the gut with Harms and Conaway on each side, and they had one-on-one on the outside and 9 guys within 3 yards of the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
And I was thinking to myself, this doesn't look great for us. So I looked out to Kurt. I gave him a little head nod. And there's one thing about Kurt and I, when we played whatever sport it was, I don't care. We were always on the same page. There was just some sort of connection there that knew what he was thinking. I gave him a little head nod because the guy was playing press coverage. Hot color usually meant a stop, which was going to be no good. But I gave him a little head nod. He nods back, so I call the hot color. We snap it, and the line takes off. We've got to have linemen 4 or 5 yards downfield.
That's what they call RPO nowadays.
Whatever.
We were only 2 yards. We were 2 yards.
We took the pass option. Kurt ran a little slant, and we hit a touchdown on that one, which was fun, really fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then, after the game, and my dad's here, he'll tell you the story on this. But after the game, Van Berkom comes up to him and says, "Your son's got balls of steel this big." We're talking volleyballs. You don't change the play on 4th and 1. Right, yeah. You don't change the play on 4th and 1. But apparently I did, and it was a good thing I worked. I might have lost my job. I don't know. But
I'm thankful you did.
We changed the play on 4th and 1, and then, that last drive.
And then I remember, that last drive, we were set up to go for a field goal, to go for the win. It was windy. When they called the timeout, we were able to talk about it. We figured, let's go for it, and we got it, and yeah.
Well, we got the ball back with 1:29, and, I threw a perfect pass to Kurt in the first play, which would have been a touchdown if he didn't drop it.
Kurt? I dropped a lot of passes. So you were human. I mean, I was watching some games, and what the heck's wrong with that pass, Right off my fingers. Wide open, perfect pass, just drop it.
But you know what? I don't know if you we all know Kurt. How could I ever get mad at Kurt when he came smiling, running over the sideline, smiling? I could never get mad at him.
Well, half the time,
I'd drop a couple.
Yeah, half the time
fine.
he'd come up, he goes, he'd come back to the huddle, he'd drop, he goes, sorry, guys. we'll get him next time.
Don't worry, Stu. He couldn't get mad at you either. Well, give him the talk.
So then a couple plays later, the play call is like, well, if he's not going to catch it, we're going to let him throw it.
Yeah,
because we ran that halfback pass.
Yeah, that's right.
And Kurt throws a strike to Harms, which gets us down into inside the 20, 15, somewhere in there.
Yep.
Was a big play, which I was wide open on, but I would have got caught from behind. We know that.
I do got to mention someone in Stubby when we do a sucker count.
Oh, yeah.
In the huddle. Do you remember this, Daman? Stubby, like, have you guys ever seen the replacements? You know, the guy, like, shit, Shane, they're going to hear you, because he'd go, sucker count. And he'd hold his whole body. We're like, gosh damn it, they're going to hear you. If you don't be quiet, they know two is coming, because he'd say it so loud, and his whole body would. You remember that, Daman?
I get a little excited.
He'd get a little excited when it'd be a sucker count.
Like sucker count.
Sucker count. Like, shut up. They're going to hear you back there.
Also in that Sergeant Bluff game, we got the ball backed up on our own, like 1-2 yard line late in the game. And that was my first game with a new center. And we fumbled, I want to say, 4 snaps in the second half.
Trevor called
yeah, and I, for whatever reason, I was probably pulling out a little bit, whatever, I don't know. But we fumbled a bunch of snaps, and we're backed up in our own 2 yard line. I fumble a snap.
You should learn to pull out.
You got to stay in there, Subi.
I fumble a snap, and then the very next play we come out, and I'm looking around, and Kurt's giving me the head nod. He wants to go hot color again from our own 1.
Yep.
Like, I don't know if that's a great idea.
Did you do it?
No.
That boy.
Probably
No,
good-
you can
probably a good
overdo these
idea.
things. You can overdo these things.
It was probably there. And if we hadn't fumbled the snap before, I probably would have let him go 99 for a touchdown.
Yep.
But I didn't trust myself at that point.
that was a good call.
So, Coach Renzen, was this the year that the Sergeant Bluff coach
Yeah.
came into you and
After
said,
the game,
Coach
Dewey,
Zizda.
Dewey and I and I think Jerry Plesky were probably in the locker room picking some stuff up, and he comes in and he's got his head down. He just comes walking in. A great guy, Chris.
Keep
is
in mind, it's 2 years in a
great
row
guy,
now.
and he had a good team, bigger school than ours and everything. And he says, he shakes his head, and we're looking at him. He just says, Coach, I don't know, what do you guys do, or what do you got, or maybe you can fill in. Dewey goes, what do you guys do different? I can't figure out how we can't get by you guys every year. So what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you answer? You try to be nice to them, and
you just say you're a bunch of sissies.
and basically,
McDonald's doesn't work.
Yeah, they had the McDonald's.
basically try to give them a little bit of pat on the back and say, oh, you're doing all right, buddy, but you're not going to beat us.
The bottom
So,
line
yeah.
is we were just tougher kids. We
Oh.
wanted it more, and for whatever reason, their kids weren't showing it.
But believe me, Drew, we couldn't wait to get outside and tell you guys that, though, after that.
Oh yeah.
But meanwhile, when you guys were inside there, we were sitting on the bus, and there were some girls that
JD.
No, wait.
This one, JD.
This is still in Sergeant Bluff. This
Yes.
is still
On
I didn't
school-
hear this
on-
we're
part
sitting
of
on
it.
the
On
bus.
school grounds.
We're on school grounds, and
This
we're
is
sitting here waiting for the coaches.
You see it.
I don't remember this.
You're probably talking to KCAU. Or
Yeah, he's probably got a
KCAU.
big interview or something afterwards.
Don't worry. Looks like JD had her under
Us
control.
linemen are on the bus just sitting there, and there's Daman can take it over. from
Tell
here,
the
but-
story.
Brad.
I never heard this part, so tell it good. This is legendary stuff.
Secrets.
Oh no, not no more. It's okay.
Oh,
Did you get?
come on,
Did you
Daman.
get like flashed?
Remember, yeah.
See, you can.
What,
use-
what,
you
So how? Just give
Keep it
some
at that. Let's
details
keep it at that.
how to go down. Let's
His
go.
wife's right over there, and
She probably heard it 17 times already. Legendary.
he's smarter than he looks. Yeah, no.
Well, I'll tell it. Jeez.
Yeah.
We were sitting on the bus. Yeah, Conway must have been talking to the local news agency or something like that. But we were sitting on the bus, and all of a sudden these girls, they start flashing us and mooning us, and we're like, what the heck is going on? Meanwhile, the guys are up against our bus, like flipping us off. We're like, what the hell is going on?
Their guys.
Their guys are flipping us off up beside the bus. The girls are flat. We're like, is this supposed to be a bad thing?
It was
What's going on
unsolicited.
right now?
We did not
Unsolicited.
egg that on.
To the winners go the spoils.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It was weird out because it's right beside their school, and they were.
And that was only the beginning of it, though, wasn't it? Or was that another year we got? Oh, that was Missouri.
That was
was
back
a
with,
different year.
That was back with Tommy Meester.
Oh, I
and,
didn't,
that was
I
good.
didn't even know about this one.
Yeah,
You remember
to be honest with you, I didn't really either. I don't mean unless I don't remember it.
Well, we didn't want to say anything to you guys. We
Right.
didn't want to get out of there too soon.
Yeah, okay.
Well, what do you think? we would have said, "Oh, next time make sure you cover your eyes," or what?
So basically, so basically, dude, when I came in and started bragging to him about that this coach had said this to us, they could care less.
really care. It was the strangest thing. I don't know.
Do you remember in practice that week, Coach Schmitty kept warning us about this train that went by the football field.
Oh, yeah, that is a good story.
And we get up there, we're going to run one of our first plays, maybe on a Tuesday or something. And all of a sudden, he pulls out this little kid's wooden train whistle and starts blowing in this thing. And it just
Everybody lost it. That was
trying
awesome.
not to giggle.
All
That's
week,
so
too.
The
awesome.
whole week, he just blew that little train whistle.
Randomly.
Just serious, too.
Yeah.
He didn't crack a smile.
Didn't crack a
about it.
smile.
He was
I mean,
being serious.
we were laughing our butts off,
That was awesome.
but we scored a
touchdown.
touchdown when the
As
train
the train's
was
going by.
blowing its whistle going by. All right.
Back in the day, as teachers, we called that an anticipatory set.
There you go.
Remember that, Joe?
That's right.
Mr. Gearhart would be proud. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how he was.
I remember
He always
Smitty
said-
doing that.
He always said, people tell me when I go to get my coffee, good luck, coach. And I say, that's bullshit. You don't need luck if you're prepared enough.
That's it.
I never
right.
forget that.
No,
He always said, luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
there you go.
You don't need no luck if you're prepared enough.
Yeah.
And he lived it too, man. He lived it.
The end of that game, we called the exact same play, back-to-back plays.
Yeah.
Because on third down, we were running a little power pass, but Kurt was sneaking out the backside, and I tried to hold up for whatever reason. I don't know. I tried to hold up, lost the ball, incomplete pass, and then we set up for that field goal. They called timeout.
Yeah, they called timeout.
It wasn't us.
Oh, yeah.
We stood and talked.
They
He came
called
over, we
timeout.
stood and talked.
And I told you,
Yep.
he was there, just missed him. And ran the same play, and the three guys around him, but they weren't close enough.
Yep.
So, yeah, we
One
hit
heck of a
that
game.
with-
This is where the cardiac
I think,
kids.
yes.
Yeah.
that's
Well,
what
this
it
was
said.
back-to-back
We
weeks.
started
too.
talking
Back-to-back
about-
weeks.
We go from Rock Valley to
Toby
that.
started forming ulcers and all that good stuff.
Nah. Loving life, man. That was a fun one.
That was fun.
Moving on to Game 6 here. I like how the newspaper has 34-0 Nighthawks 0, but that's not the
Yes.
it's not the Nighthawks.
It's the
Western Christian
what are they called?
Defenders.
I don't know what they were called.
Wolfpack.
Wolfpack.
Wolfpack. There we go.
They
Whatever
were
they are.
Wolfpack at the time. There was a
Defenders is
there was a
Dork.
Western person in here earlier, but he must not would
Yeah.
stick around for the
They were-
podcast.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
That
glad
was-
we were able to shut them out the first time we played them in their varsity football season there.
That was their first year of varsity,
Yes.
wasn't it?
Meanwhile, there's a couple Rock Rapids kids playing on their team.
That's right.
Reed Vanderveen.
Yeah,
is
he's
the
actually
starting
playing quarterback.
Yeah.
Yes. Again, as you look through here, again, not a 1-yard pass or a 5-yard run. It's 61-yard scoring strike from Stube to Kurt Conaway again.
Well, 355 yards rushing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I will say, I
And
remember
passing.
the first half we did not play very well, and we did not get to go back to the locker room because Coach Lorenzen said, no, you guys don't deserve to go to the locker room.
Yeah.
We had to go up on the practice fields. We had to huddle there. I don't know if you guys remember that. And
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
we got
One of
our-
those nights where we were playing a team and we knew we were going to beat them, but we ped like we knew we were going to
Yeah.
beat them that first half. Yeah.
we played like garbage.
Yeah. It was a little embarrassing at times, but
I remember before this game, there was their first varsity season, and we heard rumors that their head coach got their call sheet was off of Madden. I don't know if that's true or
I
not.
think it was true. Yeah.
But
He
he got his play sheet off of Madden.
he was self-admittedly not qualified.
Yeah.
They just didn't have anybody else.
well,
But yeah, I'm pretty sure it
your
was true.
coach didn't get it off Madden. They would have never sold any Madden.
No, that was Tecmo Bowl.
That's right. Danny Rockwell had a big game that night, 156 on the ground. That's huge. Offensive line must have been getting it done all night.
I was talking to Matt Willing about this game, and he reminded me of a fact that Stacy Harmson, another Rock Rapids kid, cheap shot at Stubby, and Van Burkham lost it, and just brought all the kickoff team aside and chewed them out and said, if they're going to cheap shot us, no uncertain terms, I guess, in Burkham, but he lost it. And so the whole kickoff team the next round went down on that kickoff and just lit everybody up because they cheap shotted Stubby.
That's awesome.
Stubby didn't get hit very much.
No, I didn't. I was just showing my son. I got my jersey in the closet. And I showed him my jersey today, and I was like, oh, you see how clean this is? There are no rips, no tears, nothing. I was pretty protected. Guys like JD around.
Hey, you were talking about your sucker count. Jeff Parkinson wrote even in the paper here, Jason Stubby's sucker count drew the visitors offside, so the newspaper reporter even heard it.
I don't know how the hell they didn't hear it because Stubby
he knew it was coming.
Stubby said it so damn loud.
I had a white Steve Wick was white hat at Rock Valley for that game. He came to me. He's like, "You gotta make sure you stand still. You're bobbing a little bit." So apparently, I embellished once in a while. I don't know. Didn't see it that way, but
Nah, we didn't either, and it never got called.
Rolling into to week 7 here, Sheldon, very good game. The district that year was pretty tough.
It was.
I'd like to go back and see exact standings of how the district all played out because between Sergeant Bluff, Sheldon, West Lyon, us, there was some very good teams.
Kurt, we've talked about it numerous times. The other teams, starting in 05, I think it was an 11-year run where we had somebody in our district in the finals.
And that was Sheldon in 05,
Yeah,
so I
Sheldon
think they
in
probably
05,
had some pretty good.
so they had some pretty good
players.
players.
So
Young
2004, obviously, 20-14 game, we won, but the following year, Sheldon was the finals in in Class 2A. So obviously they're a very talented team, but again, found a way to win.
yeah, this is that game, Kurt.
Your 40-yard run.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I was celebrating before you got to the 20.
Yeah, and then the D tackle caught me.
Boom.
Yeah.
I remember being on the offensive line. I was like, "Oh, Stubby's gonna score." He's not gonna score. Gosh dang it!
That might be the same game where Willinga stuck somebody on when he's kamikaze on the
Yeah,
kickoff.
he did.
The kid fumbled the ball or something, and he went to go pick it up, and by that time Willinga was right on him. And just
So
might
Matt's
have
nickname
speared him.
was Kamikaze Will because he'd just run down. Sometimes he wouldn't even be close.
He'd jump
he
sideways.
wouldn't even be close to the returner, but he'd take somebody out.
He'd bust the wedge out. He'd be flying sideways through the air, just taking
That's
guys
for sure.
out. It's pretty sweet.
That was awesome.
And
You got a big punt block in that game, Drew.
Yeah, I remember that one because it was Scott Kruger, who I grew up wrestling, and I don't think he wanted the smoke when it came on that one because he basically just let me go. And I almost had my first touchdown ever in junior high school or anything. I recovered it at the half-yard line. I was so pissed. I can't just juggle it a little bit, just get it in the end zone.
Yeah.
But
It's another close win for the Cardiac kids.
Well, they scored late in that game.
So we
we were
were
an
up
onside kick.
We were up 20-0.
Yep.
They came back.
Okay.
Passed it all over the place.
Yep.
They tried to onside kick it, they didn't get it.
Right, yeah, he basically whiffed.
Yeah, he did.
Went a half a yard.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, they were a pretty good team.
Yeah.
They had some close games. Looking back at the stats, some of the other games, they had some close games with the other teams too. I think they ended up being tied third.
You talk about developing an identity, Tobe. Look at the stats. We had 68 rushes, 272 yards. Rock Hill 27 for 156.
Yes.
So we were hammering it.
Dewey, I think you're on the wrong page.
Yeah, you're on the wrong game.
Was that the next?
Yeah.
It's 55 for 245.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rock Hill had 29 for
Good.
117.
That was the week
But
before.
you weren't too much off though.
Yeah,
You-
it was the
Exactly.
week before, I guess.
we had 55 rushes for 245
Yeah,
yards.
that's
55 rushes. That is insane.
Yeah, it was a quick game.
yeah,
Didn't
right.
take long.
Put in perspective, I don't think we had one game we ran 55 plays in this year.
I don't think so.
So put that in
That's crazy.
perspective. 55
That's
plays.
nuts.
You see, I had 3 rushes for 41.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Just
Oh,
saying.
baby, there it
That's
was.
the only time you can see Stubby the
There was a
positive
lot of
negatives.
You were pulling your inner
Get that
Adam
up on the
Booby that
TV.
night, weren't you?
I wanna
Your
watch
inner
that.
Adam Booby, Stu.
Right, yeah. 17 yards a rush. That's all I said.
Yes.
It's starting to show be somewhat apparent that our big boys are starting to get it.
I was just going to say,
Oh, yeah.
Walking
at
to the
that
whistle,
time,
getting
things
her
were
going.
getting, the offensive line started clicking, obviously.
Everything started gelling.
Dominant, were they pretty big up front? They had a big dude, didn't they? The next
Fisher.
year.
There was a Fisher.
Yeah,
Fisher,
He, went,
yeah.
he was a
Garrett?
star at SDSU.
Yes.
Yeah, they had him. They had all those.
Bryant.
They had those studs in the backfield there.
Yeah. The
Anybody else?
Crowell was one, I
Crowell.
believe.
Yep.
They had some studly kids that were
JD.
juniors then, I think.
Do you remember any of these guys?
You just remember kicking their ass, though, don't you?
Damn right.
That's all that matters,
That's
buddy.
right. That's right.
That's all that matters.
I can't believe between you and Joe Drent, I bet there's a lot of talking going on that left side.
JD and JD.
Corn's 3 inches tall. How about you? Yeah, same here. Yeah, okay.
We were very fortunate on that left side that we had some basically season-long continuity. We didn't have it on the rest of the line.
Big,
That was
strong
that was a
boys.
problem.
No talking, just ass kicking.
Just
big,
ass
strong
kicking.
boys.
That
So,
a boy.
you know, I was fortunate enough. Joe worked for me for like 13 years. And, you know, Joe's nickname when he worked for me was Human Payloader. The guy was a freaking freak.
Yeah.
But he worked his tail off. The guy, it was unbelievable how hard Joe Drent worked. And,
Jordan, what were your numbers? How big were you back as a senior?
220.
Yeah.
6'2",
6'3".
6'3", 220. Joe was probably close to that,
Same
maybe
thing.
even taller, or the same
He
thing.
might have been a bit taller, but
Okay.
Could have been 6'4".
So we had some continuity. We had some size.
you watch the games.
Yep.
We run left
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, especially when Drew was, playing center.
Yeah.
Those 3 guys, we run left a
Definitely.
lot.
So how'd that work, Drew? How'd that work when did you volunteer to play center? Tell us the story. What happened?
He had played center before.
I played center before, all throughout. I was the center for him. Well, actually, going into this year, was it this year or my junior year? I was supposed to be the power back. We had never had a number 11, specially requested number 11 for Central Lyon. You guys specially ordered it because, well, yeah, we can have a number 11. And then my dreams were dashed of carrying the football, and you guys just put me back to the offensive line.
So we gave it to my so we gave it to my favorite number 11.
Yeah.
Mitch Lupkus back there.
So I went to the offensive line and played a little bit of center my junior year, and then I don't know, just because of injuries and everything, I just wherever you guys told me to go, I'll go.
Well, it was a key move. You there and Nate to tackle was a real key to our season, and the continuity on the left side, big time, big deal.
Yeah,
and it got better and better. Fun stuff.
Yeah, you could kind of, I mean, not to toot my own horn, but you could kind of see that a little bit in the center push, a little bit in the game films once went through there. Kind of see the holes open up in the middle.
You were somewhat undersized. I don't remember how big you were, but you were as strong as anybody you'd
Well,
face.
speaking of undersized, I remember before the year it started, you said I couldn't play both ways unless I weighed over 190 pounds.
I remember that.
I had to chug 3 milk cartons of water before weigh-ins that year. I went to the bathroom for about 24 hours straight. It was like 5 minutes on the minute. I just went to the bathroom every 5 minutes because chugged that water because I was going to get over 190. I need to play both ways, I guess.
Isn't that something when you're 16, 17 years old, how you really listen to that coach?
Yeah.
Because honestly, I can tell you right now, it wouldn't have mattered. You were going to play it.
I don't know.
I got over 190 though.
You did, and
I drank so much
awesome.
Boost. Remember
Boost?
Boost?
Yeah.
I drank so much of that stuff
We got to give a shout out.
Oh
to
my gosh,
my
that's right.
sister-in-law. I used to get it for. She worked at a nursing home in Rock Valley.
sponsors.
I would buy cases of that
That's
stuff.
right, in the weight room.
Thanks to
Yeah.
our sponsors, Boost.
I mean,
was
we're
the first
talking
Boost.
hundreds of cases.
That was the first NIL deal Central Lyon had.
Janice Best and Boost.
Yeah.
And little did they know, south of the border, she gave us a hell of a discount too.
Yeah, because I think we had to pay $1.
It was really cheap for like 6
And it was an
of them.
honor system. There was a fridge in the weight room. You had to pay $1, and it was an honor system.
Yep.
I don't know how many people
Boost.
actually paid in, so I think Dewey ended up paying a lot of money.
Hundreds of cases of Boost.
Yeah.
Most schools are doing create, and we're doing Boost.
From the nursing home.
I saw that.
That's Sergeant Bluff. That's Coach. You got to tell him the secret.
Yeah.
Right. The secret was
There's a
boost.
secret.
I saw that.
Stay away from protein. Get your boost.
They were advertising Boost the other day on TV. I
still
told
around?
Sharon, I know you're out there listening, but I just told Sharon the whole story about that the other night. I said, that's the stuff that Rhonda got for us, and the guys drank gallons of
We
that
used to
stuff.
drink it nonstop.
Couldn't have hurt anything.
If you smelt it now, you about throw up.
It was so bad.
It was so bad.
I mixed it with so much milk.
I about threw up at the time.
Oh, we had a lot of that stuff. Yeah, I forgot
At least
about
when you have like whey protein or something, when you drink that, you knew it was going to be bad going in.
Yep.
Boost, you're like, it looks like it's going to be
Looks
good.
like
And then-
chocolate
oh
milk.
gosh, it's horrible.
that. Sneak south of the border and fill my trunk and head on home, baby. Be careful. The FBI might come looking for me, huh?
So this next,
Statute of limitations.
so we
Yeah,
so we move into the West Lion game next. You're correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
I did not realize. So I was just looking through this stuff that we had not played them in district football since my first year as head coach in '95.
Yes, they were
First time, I
1A.
did not realize that.
yeah.
Well, they were 2A and we were 3A.
Oh,
And
yeah.
right.
then when we came down to 2A, they went
down to
1A.
That's right.
And maybe even some A in there. They played 2 years. They played one rotation in A.
That's
That's unfair.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Unfair.
Yeah.
So
But when we went over there, that's when Schmidt gave us a Sunshine Patriot speech on the bus. When we got over to West Lion.
So this was also the game that we didn't warm up at West Lion. We didn't do warm-ups at West Lion. We warmed up at the Central Lion
Yep.
Field. Do you
Yep.
remember that?
Yep.
We went over there in our pads.
We went over there with our shoulder pads and helmets on, and we walked off the bus. We did warm-ups at the Central Line Field
Yeah.
because
I forgot that, but
Coach
that's
Lorenzen
right.
thought it'd be intimidation, I guess, to come off
Yeah, I don't
the
know.
bus or something.
worked.
I don't know, but
and it worked.
Sounded pretty cool.
it sounded cool at the time. but
we bought in. That's all that matters.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
guys did.
Exactly.
Bought in.
we warmed up at our field, and
Yep.
then we walked off on their field. And
Well, Schmidt had it down. 22 minutes. It takes 22 minutes if you go to this stop sign. It takes 22
Yeah.
minutes to get to the field right there. So we're
Because
good to go.
I guess they said they
love
thought
that
they
guy.
were wondering where we were
miss
because they were out there
Yeah.
warming up for
See, we
you know,
got in
45
their heads.
minutes.
Right there, we got in their heads. They were looking for us. They weren't paying attention to their warm-ups.
Well, I remember preparing for the game. I've told this story many times. Nate Knobloch, maybe 190 pounds, soaking wet. He lined up against Baron Scott, the big guy. I mean, I think he was an Augie recruit.
Yep.
And he was legit. He's a big, strong guy.
Yeah, he's good.
What do? He's like 250 pounds, and he can lift the house, you know. So all I told Nate was all week long, all you work on is you just keep your body between the defender and wherever the ball is. Whatever it takes, keep your body between them. What else can you say? But I remember one time, and he did. Nate, you know, you guys all remember Nate. He was one of those guys that bought in, like you're saying, Kurt.
Yep.
And they got a 15-yarder against them. I don't know if it was a terribly key time when Baron Scott got really frustrated and slung him down because there's Nate right up to the whistle blowing, that little guy just pesky as hell, staying on him, and he just swatted him out of the way slightly after the whistle, and there it came.
Well, at the same time, you know, he playing on offense, we had a 145-pound Willinga lined up against him.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Going to that game, I remember Will's job was to piss Baron
him
Scott
off.
off.
Yeah.
That's all the coaches said.
So
Hey,
now he's
I
getting
don't
on
care if
both
you have to
sides.
grab ankles. I don't care what you have to do. You just have to piss
Couldn't pick
Clint
a-
off,
couldn't
and that's
pick a
all.
better
That's
guy.
all job. That's all Will's job
Untie his
was.
shoes, whatever.
Yeah.
And now
Will
he's
got
getting it
blown
both
up
ways.
sometimes, but man, he made
Yeah.
Clint pretty
Yep.
mad, and
Yep.
Clint was a gosh dang,
He was a
he's
beast.
He's
He was huge.
he's a heck of a player.
Yeah, he was studly, yeah, no doubt.
There, I mean, looking back on that, their whole front
Yeah.
line, both sides
Yeah.
were huge.
I don't
They were
remember.
really good.
If they were ranked or whatever at the time, but
They were ranked.
Top 5.
it was a massive, earth-shattering upset.
They're ranked fourth.
Extremely good running back.
Yeah.
Childress, very good
Childress
running back.
was
Big
stuck.
kid, went to Morningside, played really
Yeah.
well down there.
Oh, and Feichenberger was a
Yeah.
good fullback.
Feichenberger,
Yeah.
Smith.
Really good.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
holy
Knobloch,
smokes.
But
quarterback.
I was telling these guys, I go, we didn't win very many games. I remember listening to the 70s podcast. You were talking about, hey, you guys won all the time.
We didn't.
We didn't win. we didn't win at all.
I mean, coming up through the years.
Coming up through the years, yeah. We didn't win at all, but the 2 games we won, MOC our 8th grade year, they ended up being a playoff team our senior year, and our freshman year we beat West Lyon 21-20 at home. That was the only team we ever,
Yeah.
that was the
7 through 9, we won 2 games.
2 games.
Period.
And honestly, guys, we've had these stories before.
Right.
Curtis, you might have been your class.
My
We
class
had
is one of them.
Poor, little success as young ones, but if you buy into the program and you work your butts off, it changes.
Yeah.
That's the way it works, and it has.
But I guess my point is with West Lyon, they had been known
Oh yeah.
from when we were younger all the way through, they were going to be really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had players, they had dudes. Like they were really good. Somehow we found a way to win our freshman year. We weren't. Yeah. I mean, they were good, but we weren't scared of them. No. They were good, but
that's the key to the whole thing.
That freshman year when we beat them, I think that had a lot to do with going into that senior year game. Like we had beaten them before.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
That helps.
we had done it.
That helps.
we'd done it before, and that wasn't because a lot of them played as sophomores.
Yeah.
Once we got up to JV,
Yeah.
A lot of them had played as sophomores on varsity, but our freshman year, I mean, it's one of those that we knew we could get them. They're bigger. It is what it is. They're probably they're more talented. Goes without saying. They had a lot of talented dudes, but
Look at the stats for that game. You look at the stats for that game. I don't know how we won.
Well, yeah, that's
We
how
scored
the
more points than
It
they
was
did.
back and forth.
Yeah.
We got it.
Thanks,
Important
Kurt.
part of the deal.
Thanks, Kurt.
But no, let's talk
Is that
about
how-
that.
is that how
Let's
you
talk
won?
about that. So,
Most of the
so
time.
they scored. You guys scored, and you went for 2.
We
Yeah.
scored with
right away.
So obviously your quarterback has balls to steal, but so did the head coach.
Right.
didn't they?
Didn't
Didn't
make
they
it,
take
though.
a timeout?
No,
No, that was at
right
Sergeant
away.
Bluff.
That was
Right
at Sergeant
away.
Bluff.
That's Sergeant
Okay.
Bluff, yeah. No, we got the ball back, and we did same pass, that same sprint out pass where he threw it back against the grain
To Harms.
To Harms.
To Harmsy, yep.
Harms got caught from
He
behind.
got caught from behind.
See,
That's
me and
crazy.
Harms and I are about same speed, you know.
Probably.
Yeah.
Right.
I couldn't believe that. Yeah.
But and then Rock Hill punched it in the next play, and we went for 2 immediately, and I still don't know how he got in. If you watch the play,
So if you watch the
idea.
YouTube videos, whoever it's
Oh, yeah.
Ken Keel,
Ken
Ken
Keel.
Keel, and then whoever else is up there, like no way he got in. Ken, the just optimist that he is. Ken, if you watch the YouTube videos, I love listening to Ken because Dennison game, he's sitting there saying, "Wow, it doesn't matter because we jumped off sides one time." He goes, it doesn't matter. They were going to get in anyway." And then he's sitting there saying about through all the plays or all the games, he's going, "Wow, you got to make that play. You got to make that play." And then all of a sudden, Rock Hill goes for 2. Ken goes, "I don't think he got in, but whatever."
yeah, that's all that mattered.
Yeah.
And after we went for 2, though, they had 2+ minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And went down, and Bonander was a great kicker.
Yeah.
They get down inside the 10.
Yeah, they got down the 7-yard line. I think I read.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
And they had a kick to win it.
Yeah,
at
20-yard kick.
20 yards, and it was short.
Yeah.
You just missed.
I don't know what
It
happened.
was wide and short, as Jeff Parkinson would say.
So
Yes.
if you
So
watch,
that means it's like an extra point.
yeah,
Right.
if you watch
Whoa.
that last offensive player there's, I think it was Childress that ran down her. I can't remember who it was. And going into that last series, Coach Lorenzen comes up to us. He goes, "Hey, guys, whatever you do, when you make a tackle, just get up slow." Well, Nick
Gorder took
that to the extreme.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Nick Gorder took that to the extreme. So he gets a tackle on, I think it was Childress, and he won't get off of him. He's bear hugging him, and he won't get off of him. The refs are like, "Get up, get up." We're like, "Hey, get up, get." Like, we're going to delay a
I was
game.
scared he was going to get a call.
I thought he was
Yeah,
going to
I really
delay a
was.
game.
They
And
stopped the clock, though.
They stopped the clock.
Yeah.
And then you have the whole, if you watch the YouTube video, the whole West Line crowd is screaming.
Yep.
Because he won't get off of him. I think it took about 10 seconds before they finally got Nick's arms off of Childress before he got off of him.
Yeah, he was just hugging. He was rolling around. Childress trying to get up.
Yeah.
So, for whatever reason, I don't know how they missed the kick.
Yeah, I know it.
It still baffles me how he missed that kick, but
He was a legit
really good kicker.
Yeah.
Well,
I forgot.
it was really windy that night. They were going into the wind for that kick because every kickoff that they kicked going north, through the end zone. Like, might have been through the uprights. So it was windy, but still, 20 yards.
At the very least, it got in his head, probably.
Maybe. Don't matter to me.
I believe that was their. We broke our district winning streak they had like a 3-year district winning streak.
Yeah,
going that year.
Yep.
I just remember how sore I was after this game. I mean, it was a tough game.
It was a bloodbath.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, it was a really tough game. They, like I said, they had Clint Baronscott obviously is a dude. Caesar Castile was another guy. I remember.
I forgot about him.
Bonander. He was. They were just a studly team.
It was tough. It was you know how it is when you leave West Lions Field. You can't get out. Or our bus sat there forever. I remember they had 3 or 4 guys on that West Lion team that would not leave the field. They were like just devastated that they got us.
That was supposed to be. I mean, that's their team.
That was their team.
That's their team. They were supposed to win it all. They weren't supposed to be beaten. And obviously, like I said, they're just super talented. But yeah, that was a heck of a game.
Look at the stats. We had 8 first downs that game.
Doesn't matter when Conway gets in the end zone.
We had 8.
Yes.
How though?
8. Well, we didn't have much for offense. Well,
we had the one big play to Harms.
We had the one, and then our first touchdown, we recovered a fumble on like the 25.
Yeah.
And then we had a big run on the left behind JD. And punched it. It was like a 2-play drive. Those were our 2 touchdowns.
That's crazy.
We didn't do a lot.
But it never felt like we were out of it. From what I remember, it just kind of felt like
our defense was pretty solid.
We're good.
There was a classic bend but not break.
It was
because they had a lot of yards, but they didn't put up the points.
Yeah.
But
it's one of them weird games where you just felt like we're all right, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
We had been there before. We had been in those situations that year of being down in the 4th.
It's probably one of those. Yeah, probably key. Those few games before that were probably key to this game. Not losing our cool, like you say, Kurt. Just staying focused. And
we had been there.
I mean, perspective a little bit. I mean, they beat Lamar's 21-7 earlier in the year.
Yep.
When we lost 28-13.
Yep.
And I mean, Kurt's late yard, 78-yard touchdown, but kind of perspective how much we improved throughout the year.
Right.
Yep. A little bit.
A lot of that, I'll give credit to the coaching staff, figuring out who to put where. Like, we had such a hodgepodge group. It was finding everyone's niche, putting people in position to succeed.
Had talented sophomores, but
talented
how
sophomores.
Much do you use
where
them,
do you put them? Because, Jaron played safety.
Yeah.
Mitch played linebacker. By the time they were seniors, they flipped.
He was a good safety too.
Jaron was he's the smartest.
I mean, no doubt.
He's a good football player.
Smart football player.
Purely a good player. Yeah.
Yep.
Now we know why we're the cardiac kids, man.
I still think it comes down to warming up and coming off the bus with our pads off. I mean, that's the reason why we won the game.
Best move we ever made.
Should have done it in the playoffs.
Drove to West Line and then warmed up there and then come back.
Yeah.
Okay, we're playing solo and warm up here, then we'll get on the bus drive to Cedar Falls.
Go to week 9 here. End up playing Sibley Cheaton.
That was hard getting everybody
36-6 game. And I can believe that. Come off a huge win like that. Obviously, Sibley was 0-6 in the district at the time, so just had to take care of business on a little.
Yeah, basically, we won the district. Yeah. So you got to win. Unless you stub your toe against these guys. So. Yeah.
But even if we did.
Even if you did, you have the tiebreaker.
Right.
I mean, I don't remember much about this game. I didn't watch this one back on YouTube, but I'd usually give the kind of pregame speeches before the huddle before he ran out. And maybe had some choice words. I remember Casey Peters said that was his first introduction when he first started traveling with us a little bit, that he had some choice words there, but all of a sudden I look up when I'm about ready to drop my first F-bomb and there's a news camera in my face. Like, all right, we're gonna go win this one, guys. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, it was one of those games where it was fun. We took care of them early, and then we were able to get a lot of reserves in that night.
Yeah, that was the game. Nate told me, I was at a birthday party last weekend, and Nate told me he got to play that game. as a
Nate
freshman.
DeYoung?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he got,
Safety,
he got
Yeah,
to
Nate
play.
DeYoung, the legend of Nate DeYoung began that
Yeah,
game.
he started with us. I also remember that game. So they scored 6 points. That was my bad. It was a fumble recovery for a touchdown, and he literally recovered it in front of me, and I completely whiffed on the tackle. Completely whiffed.
Yeah,
and if you watch it, it's pretty bad. That's just why I only played offense.
You think if you
apparently.
played safety the year before, you'd have learned how to tackle.
Right?
Yeah, you would think so. Yeah.
There's a reason they didn't put me back there the next year.
It's probably the best team we could have played at this point, coming off a
Yeah.
emotional, huge
Well,
win.
like Drew said, how
Drew
sore he
you
was.
were so sore, and so everybody was so physical that week before. Just being able to come in, knowing that as long as we just played our game, we were going to be fine. And it's just a matter of let's get the win. Let's get our starters out. Let's get our reserves in. Let them get some playing time in. And
40 rushes for 239 yards is fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Ho hum, status
Exactly.
quo.
Yes.
At that point.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, we weren't averaging like this past season. We weren't averaging 8-10 yards per carry in these games. We were averaging 4 to 5 yards a carry, but that was our identity. And then we get the big plays with you guys, and it carried us, man. It was great.
We maybe didn't have as explosive a run game, but a very, very dominant run game. But it was so much better a run game because of our threat for passing, the way we could throw the ball. It just was.
We had the right people, obviously, outside with Kurt
and Harms.
Jason under center, and Danny Rockhill running power stuff up the gut.
Exactly.
We had the perfect trio or quad or whatever to do it. Change it up.
Then there was Preston. Preston playing fullback.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, he'd be throwing. He would literally be
throwing
in his
up
stance.
on the field.
He'd be in his stance at fullback and throw up.
Yeah.
He signed that NIL deal with Red Bull.
Yeah, talk about a hard runner though. When
he
he'd get the ball.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it.
Halfway through the year, he ends up he's got to play linebacker.
Yeah.
We asked a lot of our sophomores that year.
Yeah.
He was another one of them.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, between Conway and Rockhill, the ball would go, and then all of a sudden, every once in a while, you give the ball to Preston.
Yes.
The defenses wouldn't see it coming, and Preston would all of a sudden he'd be 15 yards up the field.
And he had that big old neck roll. Remember that?
He had the big neck roll.
And he went for a 50-some yard touchdown against Rock Valley.
Yeah.
They had no idea.
Yeah, he had wheels, but it
was a state track
It was one of
sprinter,
those
too.
that you just Rockhill, Conway, and then all of a sudden you'd switch it up and you throw Preston in there, and they just never thought the ball was going to him, and so they wouldn't pay attention. He'd be gone.
Yep.
And through it all, we were getting her done up front, running the ball, moving the chains, protecting the quarterback.
Yeah, Daman, you've been quiet. You got something to add?
Got nothing.
Come on.
Good stuff.
Just listening.
One thing again.
You were the guy leading the whole pack. You know that.
One thing that that defense was pretty tough.
Pretty tough.
Yeah,
Pretty tough
they
throughout
were.
the entire year. And the fact that they're pretty just consistent. Like you said, there was a lot of changeover. There were some injuries that happened defense. But, again, just that consistent defensive effort week in and week out always put the team in perspective of putting himself in to win.
And you're probably right, Kurt, because really they kind of go unnoticed from the fact that we talk about cardiac, come back at the end of this game, end of this game. It goes unnoticed, but, and a lot of those guys were playing offense too, but still they did. They kept us in every game and against some really damn good opponents too.
Absolutely. That's watching tape, we started with the 4-3 and then they went to a 5-2. And, it's really a lot of different scheme stuff and then personnel changes that happened throughout that. But consistently that defense showed up and played good ball every week in and week out.
They did.
Yeah, that 5-2 really freed up the linebackers a lot when you watch it to flow and make plays. For us, as I was looking at the stats, as an offense, I think we averaged like 19 or 20 points a game, which is That's not big numbers.
No.
Not big numbers. But then you run the table in district somehow, averaging 20 points a game.
Yeah.
That is a testament
You're playing defense.
to the defense.
And you're hammering the ball,
Yep.
running the clock,
Yep.
that type of thing.
You're controlling the game.
But definitely sticky, tough defense.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely was.
And we kind of did that all year long. We really did.
Yeah, we had a lot of injuries this year. I didn't realize
Oh, yeah, we had
that until
season-
reading through the articles.
Season-ending injuries,
Yeah,
too,
how many
yeah.
injuries we had,
Yep.
and we had to shuffle starting lineups so much week to week. I mean, Mitch and I were talking. I always remember him being on my side at linebacker, and then all of a sudden you look at the game film, and he's on the right side linebacker for half the season. It's just one of those that you don't remember how many of these times, how much the starting lineup switched from week to week. It's kind of crazy how many injuries we had, and we're still produced.
Yes.
The left side of the offensive line was always consistent, though.
Sure was.
Yeah,
Yep. From day
dominant strength. We're always
one. Day
there.
one.
JD.
No joke.
Well, I think that came out in postseason recognition, too, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
did.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about that a little later.
Yep.
But talk about the West Lyon playoff game.
Oh, that one was frustrating.
That was a frustrating game.
Well,
yeah.
now let's take a look at the stats, guys. I just noticed that a little bit ago. Total offense, West Lyon 260, us 282. First down, them 12, us 17. Flip the page.
Total offense 260 to 282.
Yeah, so we beat them in total offense. Ran the ball 42 times, 167, not too bad. They ran the ball pretty well too. But it came down to a lot of receiving yards again.
That and we kind of squandered some opportunities in decent in field position, and we kind of
We came out really well
Yeah.
in that playoff game.
Yeah,
we
we
went
did.
right down the field. You know, we changed some things up, blocking the blocking scheme, and trapped them. We ran a lot more traps.
Yeah, we ran a lot of traps.
A lot of traps the first quarter of that game. Went right down the field. Kurt busted a big one, 15, 20 yards and got in. And we were moving it again.
Yeah, there's a key play that
There-
you're going to
that-
describe.
that
I had it
screen
wrong when
pass.
I was talking to the guys. I thought they executed a screen pass. No, they broke one up. But if the Mesner kid doesn't get the play,
If he doesn't hit
It
that
is a
screen, it's a touchdown.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
we would go up 2 scores
Yeah.
in the first quarter
yeah,
if we don't if that
'cause
screen pass.
they go on and score after that.
Yep.
So the whole complexion of the game,
Yep.
everything changes on
And then
that.
they're playing a high. They lose their tailback, playing a high. You know how that is. You rally around the next guy, and like I said, I think we had the ball a couple times inside the 20 and just could not get it in the end zone, and that's just killer. Any game. I don't care if you're playing Sibley or West Lyon in the playoffs. That's a killer.
Yeah,
You get it there, you got to
absolutely.
score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Change a couple plays,
And
and
then-
who knows?
Childress got hurt.
Yeah.
Childress dislocated his elbow.
Yep. Kid
And
came in, went nuts.
yeah, Schmidt, who was playing a lot of power back for them.
Yeah, they moved the Feikenberger kid over and
Yep,
moved
and
Schmidt over.
then they had two. They had 2 of them there,
yeah.
and they paved the way. I don't even know if it was so much they clearly didn't dominate the stats.
No,
If you
they
look
didn't.
at them,
Absolutely not.
but
Totally didn't.
they got one before halftime, and then they pull that BS kickoff and get the ball back.
Smart.
on us.
It was smart on their part, that pooch kick.
Yeah,
They did that twice.
They did it
They
twice.
tried it, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. But the first time they got it, and then all of a sudden they punched that one in, and we went from being up to down, and
Yeah.
just kind of never recovered from that. We did.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, this was another game. I just remember being really sore afterwards. They were big up front. They're physical.
Yeah.
That
was a bummer because
that was a frustrating game.
Yeah, we come off such a high, and we played so well down the stretch that second half of the season, and just kind of a screeching halt. And obviously
Yeah.
that happens to a lot of teams over the years. But yeah, it's
Well, coming off that first series, I thought then
yeah.
we hit them 3 and out. They
Yes.
were 3 and out. We
got the ball.
got the
went and
ball.
scored.
I thought it was over at that point.
Yeah.
We came down, drove so easily down, scored. We got them 3 and out, and I thought, wow, we're gonna dominate this game. And then
That-
it just
the way we started that game, another testament to our coaching staff, because we didn't win the stats battle the first game. We won the game. We didn't win the stats battle.
Right.
And
Yeah, there's no way. To be honest, there's no way we should have probably won that first game.
But then all the adjustments are ours to make.
Yeah.
You know, they're just thinking, well, we do the same thing. We had the adjustments to make. We could adjust to what they did.
Yeah.
I know we changed the blocking scheme on our off-tackle stuff and ran a lot more traps. And you could see that early in the game. It was clicking. And that screen pass and injury happened. And things just went south.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, 1 or 2 plays. You know, 'cause like I said, we had a game plan that was set up. You guys were executing it
it was
well.
perfect.
And just 1 or 2 things happen and throws it off the rails.
Yep. Then to watch them go play in the dome after that.
Yes.
Yeah, because they lost a heartbreaker that year, though.
Who too?
I don't remember. They lost in the semis in overtime.
Semis in overtime. They beat Emmitsburg the next round.
Yeah, they beat Emmitsburg. But then they lost in the semis, and I want to say it was in overtime. It was a close one.
Was that
Which
Sigourney or somebody?
It might have been Sigourney
Might have
Kyoto.
been.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it might
Sure
have
who
been.
it was.
Sounds right. Sounds right.
Sigourney beat Sheldon the next year in the finals, so it wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, really?
Makes
Right.
sense. Yeah, that would make
Yep.
sense.
So,
Yeah, that was a frustrating one.
Still on that screen pass, though, to Rockhill, that Mesner kid in the paper, I can't remember what paper it was, but it said he read it perfectly. I don't really remember the last time we read a screen pass at Central Line.
Right, yeah. If he thought
I don't think he read a
was
screen
coming-
pass. I think he's just lazy as shit. Was hanging back and then he got in the perfect position. But
That's code for I'm good, but I did get lucky.
Got a little lazy on that play and made it.
I think he got lazy and read it. But to his credit, he made the play and made the tackle. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah, that was a big play.
yeah. But I think, like you said, if we talked about it afterwards. If we would have scored on that one because it was wired, it would have been game over at that point.
Yeah.
Yep. All the momentum was going our way there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
move on. We'll talk a little bit about some season end of the stuff here. Team ended up rushing for 1,958 yards. Danny Rock had 228 attempts for 1,006 yards. Team had 55 receptions for 789 yards. Kirk Conaway had 22 receptions for 302 yards, 13.7 average. Brian Harms had 16 receptions for 223, 13.9 average. Team averaged 275 yards of offense per game, 19.6 points per game, like you said earlier, Stu. Defense gave up 153 points, 15.3 per game. Led in tackles by Chad Lenz with 85, Mitch Lufkus 77, Nate Van Briesen with 70. Jaron Wernsma led the team with interceptions with 5. Judy Grote led the team with 3 sacks. All district players that year. First team offense was Jason Stubbe at quarterback, Danny Rockhill at running back, Drew DeGroat at O-line, Joe Drenth O-line, Jordan Dowman O-line. Kirk Conaway was a utility player of the year. First team defense was Joey Kruger D-line, Chad Lenz was D-line, Nate Van Briesen.
Nate Van Briesen. Yeah, he played well that year.
But you have him down at somebody D-line, but it's probably
DB.
DB.
Yeah.
Jaron Wernsma, DB, and Tim Cruz as a punter. Honorable mention, Brian Harms at wide receiver, and Dustin Corkle at O-line. Honorable mentions, Nick Gorder on defensive line. So all state players, Kirk Conaway, first team Des Moines Register DB, second team Iowa Newspaper wide receiver. Jordan Dowman was second team Des Moines Register O-line, and second team Iowa Newspaper O-line.
That. Yeah, you were that good, JD.
Were you the first Little Rock guy to ever get All-State? I remember that.
Mr.
believe it.
Maxwell said that.
Yep.
Yeah.
The dog.
Just a dog.
How come there's not a statue for you in Little Rock somewhere?
Should
There
be.
is at the Bucksall too.
Yeah.
But that's for different reasons, right?
That's the one in the bathroom, though.
Now he's going back to
That's
secrets.
probably the
Secrets.
one that Casey Peters knocked down and put in of himself
Probably.
after that. Yeah.
It's relation, you know.
Oh, yeah. Well, he should have left you right next to him then, doggone it.
No, you got her done, man. You got her done.
Talk about some school records. Kirk Conaway set the longest kickoff return in a game with 90 yards.
Who was that against?
One more time. Who was that against?
Oh, shit. Boyden Hall, Rock Valley?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Whose record did you beat?
I don't have any idea.
Was it yours?
Probably Lance
What was
Botts
yours?
or Curtis.
Mine was 84 at the time.
Is it
I think
still the
yours is
record? Is it still the record, 90 yards?
No, Mitch Van Beek has it.
Yep.
Or,
he?
I think Mitch or Cole.
Mitch or Cole Telford, one of those two do. But
They
it lasted a
they
while.
both share it at 99. It's the most you can get in high school, obviously.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Mitch and Cole might actually both have it. I don't know. Kirk Kenway was 7th on the career pass receptions with 22. Brian Harms is 4th on the career pass receptions with 24. Danny Rockhill was 9th on career rushing yards with 1,818. Jason Stubbe was 9th on career passing completion list with 53.
I had to laugh at this when I saw the career pass completions. That was his total career. Like, that's your guys' season now, right?
Maybe two games.
2 games, 53 completions.
To be fair, it was one season.
Yeah, it was one season.
There you go.
Oh, fine. I'm saying
And
like 2 games
quite a few
now
drops.
is 53 completions.
And what was that, Kurt?
Quite a few drops.
Now, that's very humbling for you to say that. But you,
Jason,
honestly,
you
it
don't
was.
got to say that. It happens every year we get dropped.
You'd like to
man.
play in this
It
system.
kind of way. As you get older, you don't tell people that
No,
stuff.
no,
You say,
no.
"Fuck, I was good. I was
did not
really good."
I don't remember a lot of
one of them
drops.
drops until I watched the videos you sent me. And I was like,
There was the one at Sergeant Bluff was the only
These
drop I
things-
remember.
These things float around on the World Wide Web forever, you know.
I
The
didn't
kids
know
can
it until he
listen
sent
to
them to me, and then I started watching them, and I
God
tried
dang
to
it.
shut them off because
There's no World
tired
Wide
of watching
Web
myself
anymore.
drop
It's
balls.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Even the Chinese see it then.
Today's system though, that would have been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Would've
for
been a
you,
lot of fun.
Oh,
pass
yeah.
happy
As
guy.
soon as Menage, I saw him earlier. I don't know where
Yeah,
he's
he's
at
over
now.
here somewhere, yeah.
But as soon as Pete started throwing the ball, and I doing the PA stuff now, it's like this would have been a lot of
Oh,
fun.
yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
and I don't know how many people know this, but going into that playoff game, we were working in some trips with Reed Gertis being the
hurt his
third,
meniscus,
and
didn't
then he
he?
hurt his knee.
yeah, his knee was
Because we were
jacked
gonna
up.
run
Yes.
some trips.
Toby, were you going to spring it on him?
Oh, yeah. We're going to
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
It's funny, it's
that
funny
whole-
how
that whole,
Oh, my God.
trips was a gimmick offense back then for
Right.
Central and Georgia Rock.
Yeah.
Not with a throwing quarterback.
Throwing
That's
the ball
different,
was-
dude.
Yeah.
That's different.
That whole, the first guy to throw is a chicken shit.
That's right.
Yeah, we were going to do it.
We were going
And-
I
to.
don't think I mentioned that to Jake 'cause he knew we were going to be the first ones to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Gertis was working in on the trip, so we'd had Harms, Conway, Gertis. Those are some weapons.
You got
Yeah.
that right.
Oh, I
You're
mean,
talking some major weapons there.
You're talking 3-yard passes that go in the books as
Yeah.
30, 40. Just get it to them and let them
Just
run.
stat patters for you, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
And you get a little protection, right, Jordan? They
Jordan,
always forget
Jordan,
that.
you can say yeah.
Jordan,
Yes. Yes.
what'd you do today? Jordan, what'd you do today?
Oh, I don't even want to start. Mow the lawn.
Okay.
Oh, it's a honeydew day.
What else?
Oh, that sucks.
And then what?
Went to the bar.
Oh, well,
About noon?
That's looking up a little bit.
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock.
You got to have lunch.
Round table?
No. Golf course.
Okay. They got Greenbelt Blue there yet or not?
Hams.
Oh, attaboy.
Kurt, I'd be
no-
happy.
No tranny drinker. No Anheuser-Busch anymore.
No, that's what I heard.
I'd be missing out on this if I didn't mention how good Snyder prepared these guys. Dan Snyder prepared these guys in the summer before that season for,
That's right.
for that thing. Those guys were.
That summer lifting program
Yeah.
started when we were young.
Yeah.
We were in high school. I don't know if we were freshmen or sophomore.
Started
Gonna
with
be freshmen.
Clink's junior year. It started.
Yeah,
So you were freshmen.
we were gonna be freshmen. So we were one of those first groups that had the full
Yep.
4 years of that summer lifting
That's right.
camp.
That's
Yep.
that'd be right.
Weren't we the first ones to get from 8th grade?
Yes, we were also one of the first team that started playing together
With Central
in junior high.
Oh yeah.
Junior high.
Seventh grade was
Seventh
the
grade.
first.
We played
Yeah.
junior high. We played junior high together combined, which
Yeah.
didn't happen.
The first group.
Nope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we were the first group
that
to play
was
as
your
seventh graders.
eighth grade year?
Seven.
then?
We played as seventh graders too.
Seventh graders. Yeah, we.
So
we
you guys
joined.
are like what? So 98,
Whatever.
98, 99.
I don't know, 5 years before 2005.
No, it wasn't 98.
2004.
99.
99.
99.
That was like 25 years ago.
Because we joined Randy Meester.
Yeah,
That was the first year that we joined in junior high.
Yes.
And Randy Meester was our head coach in junior high. Yeah.
No wonder we lost all the games.
But so our 7th and 8th grade year we joined wrestling. That was the first time we joined wrestling too. 7th and 8th grade year we joined wrestling.
Yep.
And then those 2 years, our 7th and 8th grade year, and then they stopped it after that for some reason. But I don't
think they ever stopped football, did they?
Nope, they didn't stop football, but we were joined in wrestling and football. They stopped wrestling for a couple years
that
for
paid
whatever
some
reason.
Immediate dividends for the football program.
Yeah.
If you look at what
without
happened.
a doubt.
Yeah.
doubt.
I mean, the chemistry. You don't come into high school.
Well, when there's only 10 guys, you have to build chemistry.
Right.
But
Well,
even when you had more guys, we were arguing about that for years before you guys started.
Yeah.
That we got to do that. We got to do it if we want to.
We started off.
Emmitsburgs of the world, and those type of teams that are doing everything the same, junior high on up.
Yeah. We started off with there was 40 kids out for football in our junior high, and then they just slowly dropped off.
And it's a tough thing to do.
And then
It's a
we
big
ended up
sacrifice,
with 10 our senior year. Got to give a shout out to Tim Molitor because he was one of those that stuck it out.
Yep.
All the way through.
Absolutely.
Didn't see a lot of time on the field.
He always played scout team all the way through his senior year. You got to give a shout out to him.
Remember Mitchell Peters?
Mitch.
Mitch,
He'd always have candy in his pants.
Yeah.
You want some
Attaboy,
Skittles?
Mitch.
He wants some Skittles. He'd be on
You want a
football
sucker?
practice.
He was bribing you to settle down a little bit.
He'd always have something in his
He'd always have candy in his
smart
pockets.
Smart kid.
It's a wonder why we didn't win those games. When you have people with candy in their pockets.
We're worried about the Skittles.
Smart kid. Good memories, boys.
I've been watching this as we've been talking tonight. You're right. Matt Willinga is a missile on kickoff.
Yes.
On kickoff.
My God.
Kamikaze.
Matt, I'm surprised you can even walk right now.
I told you I swear to the
Will's not listening.
he'd be flying down there, and I'd watch him jump sideways, take that wedge out. Just an animal.
He was sideways.
Well, if he took 3 guys out,
deal.
that freed up a bunch of other fellas.
And it was fun to watch because you swear he'd be screaming when he'd be running down there.
Yeah, there was a couple of kickoffs where there would be nobody to pick him up, and he'd just blow up the return.
I remember Van Berkum would run down that sideline like a proud papa after that happened and go find Willie.
Yeah, he played some tough D tackle too.
Oh,
though.
yeah.
Like you watch Nate Robin, those those undersized guys with how quick they were. He caused some guys some fits.
What was the name of the Kramer boy that did it, Curtis?
Caleb.
Caleb. He was the same way, tough and small and short.
Well, we made a killing out of the Ty Millers, of the Nate Robs, and the Willingas, those guys. We've had a lot of them.
I think Ben Berkham coached us every year too. Since
okay.
We had Ben Berkham for a long time.
The whole thing.
Because he was I know we had him freshman and JV as sophomores, and then Pileski came after that.
Yeah,
and then Van Berkham did more varsity work as we were upperclassmen. So there was some of that too.
Then we got to high school, and then he was the special teams, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Good.
I think he still owes us pizza for that kickoff return.
Probably.
If I'm not mistaken.
I'm sure he'd have you back.
I guarantee
is he here?
In a second, I guarantee he'd get it for
I
you.
saw him not that long ago.
We gotta get that pizza. Oh, he is back there. Yeah, we gotta get that pizza.
You know, when you think about it in the big picture, and I always do this, I'm kind of a historian that way, but when you have a historic program like we do and a deep, deep tradition, you don't get many seasons like this. You really don't. So when you do get them, they are memory makers, and this one was a memory
Well,
maker.
and I kind of said to Curtis, I was like, why our season? Because coming in, I mean, you had semifinalists, you had finalists and things like that. But like I said, a lot of people didn't pick us. They picked us to win 2-3 games.
Expectations were low for us.
Yeah, really low.
And the funny part of that is a lot of people out there that watch this stuff, when they see this happening, it doesn't surprise them. It doesn't surprise them because of that history, because of that tradition and all those tough sons of bitches. That's what I always say. We got tough kids. we got tough kids.
You know, it's always tough picking years to do, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
Coach Cruz and I, Coach Lorenz and Coach Postma, you sit down and you try to figure out years to do. But one of the things I wanted to do 2004 because it was, for me, I was out of high school and I was in college, but it, like you said, Drew, it was like you guys had a small group that had a lot of success. Number one, and then we threw the ball a lot, which is unheard of. We had end up with 10 seniors on that team, and ended up going to win a district title. You know, 7-3, people are like, well, what's the difference from 7-3? It's like, well,
Until you look at those teams.
Until you projected to do, be a 2-7 type of team. Then all of a sudden you start realizing how special that year was, and what you guys accomplished and where you're at and everything that happened through that year with injuries and transitions. And it's like you said, Coach Postma, it's like you realize how special the year really was and what these guys did. And I really enjoyed it, going back and watch the tapes, and it's been fun. So
You talk a lot, I mean, listening to previous podcasts, you talk a lot about program players.
Yeah.
We were a program team.
Filled with them, that's right.
We were a program team because, I mean, it was just one man up after another. And there was guys like me who I played a little bit of varsity as a junior. I step into a role as a senior. We had a lot of guys that just program building, and what happens is pretty special in that regard.
And that's why I always hope that either live like this tonight or replay these podcasts, parents of these young boys and these young boys, I hope they listen and take this stuff to heart, because program kids is what makes CLGLR. And we had a team full of them that year. And we every time we do a podcast, we talk about that program kid. And we're relying on program kids coming back this fall again. We are.
I think you said it, Drew, earlier, and I think you guys kind of had a chip on your shoulder, like you're saying. Your dad heard a couple of those first games, these kids they're going to win very many games this year. I think you guys took that upon yourselves that, we are. We're going to get it done.
First of all, we lost a lot early.
Coming into the season, finished in 2003, we'd won 6 district championships in a row.
Going into that
and then we lost. We were 5-4 the 2003 year. We took it personal that we let a lot of people down. We felt like coming into that year. I don't know, speaking for you guys, but that off season, that weight training, and then coming into practice. I mean, we took it personal that we finished 5-4. We didn't win a district championship. We didn't have, I think, 2003. I think we had 3 returning starters coming into that year, but. We still took it personal because it was expected. Central Line, George Little Rock, you're expected. You're expected to be at the top. You're expected to win, and we didn't. And so coming into that year, I remember even the Denison game coming into it, we were all talking like, hey, this is our statement game. This is a 3A game.
And when you're saying,
didn't turn out that well that way against Denison, but
we're scared to step on the field with them, though. That's for sure.
When you're saying we're all talking, it's probably primarily seniors, but the thing that hasn't been mentioned here, not once tonight. And it has to happen every good team. You got to have leadership. You got to have strong leadership. I don't care what kind of a story you're telling them guys that you mentioned a while ago. The fact is you were doing it.
Yeah.
You taking charge of a hot call because you got a thing going. Do it. That take I guess having big balls is a way of saying you did it. You're a leader. You did what coach said we can do, and let's do it.
One thing I'm going to ask JD and Kurt here, because I think it's prevalent even today as we go through, but you guys started with a lot of kids in junior high. You ended with 10. What kept you out? Because Kurt, were you out your junior year?
Sophomore year, I did not go out.
Sophomore year, no.
Didn't play.
So what was it that drew you guys maybe back, or what drew you to be out?
Or kept you there?
Yeah, kept you there. Because for me, that's a big deal. Even today, yet we still struggle with some of the same things, and so.
Well, the one thing I figured out, maybe that most people have figured out, is when these coaches are on you and they're harping on your ass at practice, it's not because they don't like you. They want you to get better. Yeah. They know what they're talking about. They know what they're doing. They're doing it for the betterment of you and your team. when they stop yelling at you, that's when you need to start worrying.
You're right. That's right.
They're not being mean. They're just trying to better
Spoken like a true dad of 6.
you,
right
you
there.
and your team. Well, honestly, it was
absolutely.
hard for me to figure that out my freshman year. That's why I didn't go out my sophomore year, but then kind of figured that one out. So
Doesn't hurt that every one of us seniors from George Little Rock and Central Iron were on your ass constantly.
Yeah.
You better be there at practice that next year too.
We're dang glad you came back. Buddy.
I'm so thankful I did to play with my buddies and play for these guys. I'm so thankful.
We knew what you brought to our team.
Yeah, that's why we were on you. Like
So
every
happy.
time we talk, George Little Rock Central Iron kids. Anytime we talk to them, you got to be out this next year. You
So
got to
Jordan,
come back.
What kept you out? Why did you go out in the first place? Whatever.
Well, I could play basketball.
Good point.
Couldn't dribble and talk at the same time. I would say it's probably you.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's awesome.
Pushing. I don't know, work ethic.
Drive it.
Talking
drive
about
it.
team. Talking about team.
Yeah. We had some amazing pregame talks, didn't we? We still do them, by the way.
It probably is, I don't know, your football coaches is your first bosses.
Yeah.
You know,
I guess I never thought of it that way.
everybody should look at it as a boss. Work ethic is the big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
put some work in too.
Going in underneath the chutes and
Yeah.
driving the sled.
Driving the sled.
Again. I still remember him. You guys, come on.
All I remember is the drive it.
My goal was to knock him off that sled.
And the skill guys are always up there laughing.
It has happened.
We're playing 7-on-7. You're just throwing the ball around a little bit. I'll be honest. I didn't want to go off of football my freshman year.
So what turned the corner? What convinced you or whatever?
I was forced.
All right.
I was told I had to give it a shot.
I'm glad your dad
Way to
made
go,
you.
Dad.
I will say, I mean, it was
told.
probably hard for our grade because
we lost.
we had lost
right.
so many kids. We weren't winning.
Yeah.
We knew what you were doing, Postman, our classes in freshman year, saying, "Oh, just you got to stick with it." Oh, there's so many teams that they end up coming around, And we're like, we're just not very good.
Jordan didn't get to hear this every day, but you linemen did, and I kept saying, if I said it once, 50 times, you're going to be the core of the team. You're going to be the core of the team. You seniors, Corco, Joe.
We had 4 seniors on an
Jordan.
offensive line.
Yeah.
Played all the
and
time.
that ended up being the core of the team.
Yeah. The one thing I get a kick out of is that we always were told no gloves, nothing.
Yeah.
Now these kids are
Oh,
all
yeah. Shit,
our knuckles are bleeding every play, and now they got gloves and pads and
They got their gloves, they got their flare, they got
They
the
got
armbands.
hundreds
They
of
got everything.
dollars worth on.
they got everything.
Yeah.
I gave up on that one, buddy. Sorry.
Well, I sure.
That was a big speech from you all the
Oh,
time.
yeah, it
Well,
was.
they don't look as tough as you guys do.
And to be honest with you,
We couldn't even wrap up our ankles. Grant wouldn't even let us use the tape to
Or
wrap our
Grant,
ankles up.
would wrap them up where you couldn't even move your ankles. It was like, this isn't a wrap job. You're just putting a cast on.
Well, we never gave up on any of you guys, and I'm sure glad you guys didn't give up on football because you
Thanks
guys
for coming back out.
you guys left a mark that'll be there forever.
Yeah, for sure. And that's where I love to hear it even as a head coach today, because for us it's a super important still to build that program. And Friday we had a little kids camp. We had 105 kids there.
Yep.
It's just every one of those kids are important to our program because of things that you guys just talked about. So,
And how many volunteers didn't we have come back and work with the kids, Curtis?
all of our
couple dozen at least.
Yep.
College
A lot
kids.
of our college kids came back and worked with the kids, and so
It's really cool.
it was a fun Friday event as always. But I know Kurt, you came a long ways tonight, so I appreciate you stopping by. Jordan, thanks for coming. Jason, Drew, appreciate you guys coming for this. Hopefully it was a little special, brought back some memories for you guys as much as it is for us, because, like I said, I live it every day of my life. I sit and talk with these guys every day, and we relive stories after story. And so, again, for us to get it on YouTube, that stays there forever, hopefully, and go back and listen to. And I know that many people listen to the podcast, and I hear it every day when I walk through life, that people listen to things that happen and reminisce in those times. So I appreciate you guys being part of our podcast. Any last final words as we go through?
What's so cool to me is, I love talking the football here, but it's so cool to get here and have whoever's here for our guests. You guys are great football players, but you're even better people, and you've all become such great, successful adults, and that's the best part for us as coaches, to be able to see that.
Absolutely.
And that goes back. Football's the ultimate team sport, right?
Yep, no doubt.
There's no doubt it's the ultimate team sport, and that prepares you for life.
Yep.
It just does. So.
Thanks, dudes.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
As always.
I'm going to give a special thanks out to Jeff Cruz. He's the one that puts all the programs together, the
Thanks,
news
Jeff.
articles.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Coach Cruz.
Puts
Great
us
job.
all together every week. Season 3, season 4, season 3.
Hey, Jeff, did you notice I didn't give you any crap tonight? While you're listening. Oh, you can't hear probably.
So
I was good tonight.
I did notice that. I feel like from the 2002 game film, the quality went down. I don't know if that's ever happened before.
I know. Well, this is what we got, so it's on. It's upload now.
I feel like they were like, these guys aren't very good anyway. Let's just throw VHS.
By the way, Stu, thanks for what you do on Friday nights.
Yeah.
What's that doing?
Thanks for what you do on Friday nights.
Hey,
Go part of it.
Yeah.
I just want to give back to the program. I mean, the program did a lot for me, and I don't have the time to, coach and do all of that. So doing the PA stuff, it's so much fun. Good. And I remember when I was first asked to do that, I thought, how in the hell am I going to do Here Come the Lions?
Yeah, right.
And then we never had to.
Right.
we went straight to music instead.
There you go.
Really?
But I really enjoy that. It's fun.
I do remember coming back for the first game, and I heard your voice. I was like, gosh, that voice sounds really familiar.
Yeah.
And I was asking around. I'm like, who's doing that? And they're like, oh, it's Jason Stewart. I'm like, oh, gosh, dang it. How could I not forget that? How could I forget that voice?
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Thanks for doing it,
It's
buddy.
a lot of fun.
You bet.
You bet.
Oh, look at that. Touchdown pass right there.
Ryan Harms.
Way to go, Harms.
We're watching games in-house here on the video. But we're gonna wrap this night up. I want to give a shout out to Jeremy Sproke for the speaker setup inside here. Dan Banerjee again for the venue. Again, our guest Toby and Toby Lorenzen and Dwayne Postma, and then our special guest Jason, Kurt, Jordan, and Drew. Again, I appreciate you guys stopping by, and that wraps up.
Thank you, Coach
Season
Even.
3.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys, and let's go win another state title.
A lot of fun.
You got that right.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
We'll be back again soon, but in the meantime, please rate, review, and subscribe. Tell your friends about our podcast, as we are available on YouTube, iTunes, Google Podcast, and Spotify. And of course, follow us on social. We are at CLGLR Football on Twitter and Instagram. Or you can contact us by emailing clglrfb@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and go Lions!